Hey you guys, it's Lula. I know it's been a minute since I've done any pick-a-piles, pick-a-cards. I don't like to miss moon readings, but sometimes I do. And I just wanted to let you guys know the reason why I haven't been around is my partner went hiking and had a really pretty terrible accident. He's okay now, but he's not completely out of the woods, but he's much better than he was, and he's on the road to recovery, and a lot of that is due to our tribe. So thank you, thank you, thank you. For some of you who are in the Panda tribe, the private group on Instagram, you already know what's going on. So I can actually put the reading, I'll put the reading when the reading starts timestamp below. Although I have a feeling I'm just going to be kind of like picking cards and talking, and so whatever feels right to you, whatever feels right to you. So I don't even know where to begin. Okay, so Spirit is saying, because I just called on all of our people, because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this today. I'm like, this is going to be, it's one of, sorry, I don't know where this is coming from. Maybe we all need to stretch a little. Give ourselves a hug. Give ourselves a hug. Give ourselves a hug. For me, I'm like, oh, I want to stretch. Let's stretch, stretch, stretch. I don't know. I could have done this before. That's so weird. So I guess that's for us. That's not weird, right? This is hard for me to talk about too. And I'll probably cry. So empath warning. I'm going to try not to though, because I'm staying in the brightest light of hope that I possibly can. And basically, Edward and I have been together for 5 years. I say off and on only because there have been good periods of 5 to 6 weeks where we didn't talk or see each other. But we always came back around. You know, some people call it twin flames. Some people call it, we're soulmates for sure. I believe a soulmate is anybody who changes your life. Or, I mean, you can meet a soulmate in a train station and talk to them for 2 minutes, and that's somebody who decided that they're on their enchanted path, right? But in that brief moment, they're going to give you a few pearls that you need, right? It's like, it's this beautiful map, this beautiful enchanted map. My enchanted map oracle cards keep drawing my eye there, although they didn't want to come in, but I guess they just wanted to speak about the message of hope. And that's what this is. That's what this message is. So we didn't get to do a new moon reading, and it's been a minute since I've done other readings, but this one's a message of hope, because I can tell you in these last 5 years, 4 years ago. Ooh, let's drink some water. Okay, we'll get there. I'm like, oh, can I go to this one? Because there's this one card that came out actually last week that I've been keeping around, because the unknown archetype deck, I've been really working with this and just pulling out cards here and there. We worked with this one. You'll probably see a reading for it. We worked with this one most recently, and we have another one that came out, but it's not ready to come out yet. They're like, just talk about it. I'm like, I know. Oh, it's because it's I haven't really been talking about it. I think to protect myself, I have been just speaking when I need to speak, and then posting it on my private Instagram page, because it's so big and it is so massive, and so much of the information around the incident has changed so much that even a lot of our tribe on Instagram don't know exactly what happened. Even I, to this moment talking to you, do not know exactly all the details, because when he could finally speak, he was like, I'll tell you when we're back home. He's like, it's a supernatural story, and he's like, and I want to tell you in the privacy of our home, when you can really truly be yourself and accept it. He's like, without people coming in and interruption. And I was like, okay. Which, it's, there's part of me, it's like I'm chomping at the bit, because it's like such a phenomenal story of the bits and pieces that I know. But at the same time, it is his story. And I'm going to reach out to him about this, because right before, when I was meditating on this earlier, and when I was, calling in all of our team in spirit, I I was getting this vision of me interviewing him. And so let's send out some good vibes. I don't want to say fingers crossed, but send out some good vibes that if it's in his greatest and highest good, and if he wants to discuss it, I'm going to actually videotape Edward telling me about it. Because I think it's, I believe already, I already know it's very profound, but he's a great storyteller, so I'm interested to see what his side of it is going to be. Ooh, when I looked down, it was 5/28. That's his birthday. Oh, it's also my dad's death day. Woo woo, this is going to be one hell of a ride. Buckle in, everybody, because this is going to be one hell of a ride. You know, I find, as I'm putting my hands on oracle cards and, yeah, oracle cards. I don't have any tarot here right now. You know, you guys, this wild, unknown life, this wild, unknown experience of life is exactly that. It's a grand ride. It's a grand experience. And once we start to realize that it is like a roller coaster with the, you know, where you're going down, you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And then you get to the bottom and you're like, ah, you're like, because your body like feels, you know, you're just so alive. You're on a rush. You're on a high. It's like, that's what spirit feels like for me pretty much all the time. But I started to realize over this last week since this happened, just how significant it really was, and to him of course, but also to me and to our relationship. And we have stopped and started many times because when we first met, I felt like we were kind of on an even playing field. We were like this, right? This is how I felt when we met, which was 5 years ago in May. We met May 18th, 10 days before his birthday and 10 days before the anniversary of my dad's death, the first anniversary. So we were like this, right? But over time, it's been like this, right? Me being the right, him being the left. And we've gotten really close sometimes, and things are really good for a while, and then I'm here again, and he's here, and it's just, we're not connecting. And then there were periods of time where I felt like I was here, and he was like he had gone way below where he was when I first met him, right? Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect over here, right? I mean, I've gone through my stuff too, so I'm not saying I haven't gone down. I'm just saying with he and I, in terms of our levels of consciousness, when we first met, I felt like they were at the same place. And then it's been this dance of 5 years. And over time and over my education of, you know, spirit and angel numbers and all that stuff, 5 became very significant to me. And around the 3-year mark of our relationship, I said to him, I'm like, if we make it to 5 years, I think we'll make it. And I said, and if we make it to 5 years, I said, I have a feeling like it's going to like change everything. I don't know why, but I was just like really hung on that. So in the month of our 5th anniversary, things couldn't be better. I mean, our relationship was at the best place it's ever been. Oh, did you see that black smoke that came up? That was really wild. And so I thought we were like on this great trajectory, right? Like I was like, oh my gosh, like everything's about to like take off. And then a myriad of things happened between his birthday, May 28th, and like June 4th, that basically brought us to kind of this weird explosive place. Astrologically, of course, you know, my moon's in Scorpio. My main big things in my chart are Sag. Most of my chart is Sag. I've got bits and pieces of pretty much everything in there, but my biggest stuff is Sag, right? And my moon's in Scorpio, which runs my emotions, which Scorpio is water, which is all about emotions, right? So, you know, being an empath, I'm like, raw. So, you know, it's just been an interesting path on our journey, but it was like the full moon was in Scorpio, and I was like, wow. And that like kind of kicked the shit out of me in a lot of ways, but in a really good, deep ways that really helped our relationship and really helped me. But by the time we got to the full moon in Sagittarius around that time, end of May, you know, and May 22nd began, you know, the eclipse season and retrograde season. You know, I think actually retrograde season might have started on the 16th, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So during that time, that week, I told him, I actually warned him and said, I have to be honest with you. I'm like, Scorpio was a shit show. I'm like, my fucking, you know, and the moon's in Scorpio, so I just thought maybe you know, that was going to be it. But then I started to feel it, and I noticed as it got closer, the full moon in Sagittarius, I said, because I normally get like really wild around that. There's some moons that I'm super calm, but it's very rare. I'm actually really amped up usually. I don't sleep. I'm doing a lot of spirit work, you know, just in nature, playing with the moon, just the energies, everything. And when the moon, you know, was approaching in Sagittarius, I was like, this is different than the moon in Scorpio. I'm like you know, sometimes you, especially females, you really understand this, and males who have been with women, you know, intimately, or like live with them that are on moon cycles, you know, a lot of, when I did have my period, my moon cycle, I used to get it around the full moon, and I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I'm already a little batshit around that time, right? Like, I'm all over the place, but then, like, give me a full moon on top of it. Well, the full moon in Sagittarius felt like that, even though I've been pretty much, I think I'm full on in menopause now, so I think I'm out of perimenopause. I haven't had a period in over a year. And so I started to, like, feel that energy, and I was like, you may want to leave. Like, I said it jokingly in a loving way, because we take breaks from each other. He camps in his car. He loves to sleep in his van or whatever. So he's like, all right, we'll do that. And when we separated, it was kind of like this, hey, you know, you're going there for you, I'm doing this for me, like, let's, you know, meet back in, you know, and, you know, whenever. I told him just to go. I wanted him just to go and explore. That there's a whole other side of that part of the story too, but I just wanted him to go and explore, because he'd been really tethered to our home for like 2 years, you know, because of court stuff. And so I was like, it was cool. He could just like go be free. But the condition was that neither one of us were looking for a significant other. 1150. But, 4, all about balance. Or no, 1150, that's 7. That's my life path number. But we had said to each other, you know, if we were meant to be together, you know, or, you know, like, basically we didn't want to be with other people. But if we met somebody, then we were meant to meet that person. And that it was okay to explore that, but just like tell the other person first, like, let's talk about it first before that happens. So he met someone like 3 weeks later, but he hid it from me. And I found out because Spirit woke me up in the middle of the night and told me to check the phone logs. We share a phone plan together. And I saw it all there in black and white. And it was like really crappy. And it happened around, we'd seen each other here and there through June. But I found this out the night of 4th of July, going into July 5th. So I just was like, you need to... I'm like, we're done. I'm like, we're done. I'm like, I don't care. Number one, the girl was like, you know, because I was kind of pissed, and I was curious to know how long it was going on, because this is something that we'd been, you know, he has a sex addiction, and he's, you know, allowed me to talk about it openly. But I've let a lot of things go. We've been going through therapy, or he's been going through therapy, and I've been going through my own therapy, and then like we come back together. So it was kind of like for him to, you know, stray away like that without talking to me. It wasn't about him being with somebody. It was about the trust. And that was more of the, he wasn't being tested, but I guess he was, but it wasn't a test. It was just like, hey man, like, let's fucking respect each other, and let's respect that, like, this is where we are right now. So let's just check in with each other. That's respectful, right? You can still meet somebody and date them. I was like, I don't even care if you fuck somebody. I mean, of course I care, but you know what I mean? It was like, just tell me before you do it, so that I can make a decision about like whether I want to continue with you or whether or not I want to like not. And so I was really mad, and I lost my shit, and I told him, you know, I wanted a full breakup. Like, we were done. And in between then until a week ago, we've touched in here and there. He stopped by to like get some stuff. He was moved out, but he still had some stuff here. And the last time, each time I saw him, he seemed to be less and less animated. And then the last time I saw him, he was really, really quiet, and he was really, he just had a cloud around him that was really sad. And I even said, are you okay? I'm like, do you want to come in and watch a movie or something? Because the last time we had seen each other, we kind of threw a truce because one of our favorite shows had come into the library. And I was like, dude, we watched this whole thing together. We cannot not watch the last season together, you know? Well, it was actually two of them. It was Game of Thrones and Blacklist. And so I said, you know, if you want to like do a marathon of one or the other, you know, we can do that. And so it's like we were intermittently like watching stuff, and he'd like come by every like, you know, week, you know, or maybe 10 days or something. But like I said, this last time it was different. So I was like, do you want to pop in and watch something? I just got this movie from the library. It looks really good. And he was just like, no. And I was like, okay. And I was like, are you okay? And he's like, mm-hmm. And he didn't really talk, and I was a little concerned. And I even said, do I need to be worried? And he was like, no. He's like, but I think I might be going off the grid soon. And I was like, oh, good for you. Because every time he does that, he like becomes, you know, awesome. I mean, he is awesome, but I'm just saying, like, just like myself, it's like the more we like spend time with ourselves, right, the more we get more into who we are. So 1534. I'm calling these angel numbers out in case you guys, you know, want to look them up, or maybe I'll put them in there sometime, but they always pertain to the story, which is really fun. But sometimes there's a deeper meaning too. So anyway, long story short, he left. And he was gone for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days. And on Tuesday, a week ago Tuesday, on the 11th, which we always, like, one of us would text each other at 1:11 or 11:11. We've been doing that since we first met, and it was like our little, you know, the Carol Burnett pulling on the ear thing, like, hey, I'm thinking about you, you know, hey, I love you, you know, kind of thing. So I thought that was kind of profound, that the day that Spirit had me even call out to him was on the 11th, which is, there was 8/11, and it was right after the 8/8 portal. So I just was like, this is really profound. But it was interesting. I was just having this day where I was feeling really good about myself. I was feeling really sexy, and it was kind of hot, and I was in this bikini top and like these cute little, you know, bottoms. And Spirit told me to videotape myself and send it to Ed. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, I don't know where we are right now. And quite frankly, I was like really happy with where I was, and I was feeling really good about myself. And I was like, I don't want to do this right now, you know. But I did it because I felt such a pull to do it. I can't even tell you. Like, more than I've felt in a very long, I mean, I can't explain it. So I did it, and I was almost even a little embarrassed. I watched it back, and I was like, hee hee, because I was like, oh my God, look at me being all cute. And I was like doing little belly, you know, belly dancer moves and stuff. And I was like, damn, I look sexy. I was like, okay, I'm going to send this on over. And so I sent it to him, and I was, well, the interesting thing was, before I sent it to him, Spirit had me, that was right, they had me videotape it for him. Thank you. They had me videotape that first. But then I saw that I had a text message from Ed. And I go to open it, and it was blank. And it said 10:39 a.m. And I looked at it, and it was blank. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I like kind of went out, and I went back in, and there was like 3 blank messages. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, maybe he butt dialed me or something? So I texted him, and I was like, hey, I'm like, are you okay? I'm like, were you trying to text me or something? And he texted me back. I still have it. And he texted me back, and he's like, no. He's like, and then that was it. And so I looked again, and then when I looked again, they were gone. I shit you not, they were there though. I'm telling you, they were there. I kind of went out and went back in because it was blank, and I was like, oh, maybe this is old or something. It was weird. And I've gotten really good in like recent months of deleting things, because I'm trying not to keep things in my phone. So I've been, you know, deleting messages. And I go back in, and he texts me, and he goes, no, I just checked. You know, you didn't send me anything. And I was like, oh, okay. And I heard, send him that video. And I was like, no, you know. And I heard, send it now, right now. And I was like, okay. So I texted him, and I was just like, you know, I don't remember what I said, but I was just like, hey, you know, I just wanted to send, because I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to say with this, you know? Anyway, I sent it to him, and he responded, and he said, I hope to always remember you this way. Drink some water. 1905. And when I don't know why, but my stomach sank. I'm like, you hope to always remember me this way. And then I just sat there for a second. And so I started texting with him. And I just told him, I said, oh, I'm glad you welcome this, you know, with open arms. You know, I was like, I wasn't sure if I should send this, you know, kind of thing. And he's like, no, he's like, you're great, or something like that. Or it was just like I felt like he was saying, you don't know how much this meant to me, kind of thing. That's like basically what he said in so many words. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, oh, okay, good. I'm like, well, this is good. And so I was just like, well, I danced for you, I danced for me, I danced for us. I'm like, I'm never gonna give up on us, kind of thing. And we just like texted each other back, and he's like, I'm going off the grid. And I said, oh, that's great. I'm like, that should be great. And he's like, it'll be life-changing for sure. And I was like, okay. And then I sent him a few more messages, and then I could see like his phone was off, because he has it set to like where I can see if he read them or not, or if he got them or not. And I could tell his phone was off. During the time from then, which was Tuesday the 11th, until Saturday, when I found out about everything, the whole week I was thinking about him. I was making videos for him. I kind of felt like, I couldn't explain it, but I knew like he needed it. And I knew, like, I was like, I think we're like gonna work this out. I'm like, he's gonna go off the grid. Sorry, I'm getting hot. Like, I don't know where, I'm just really hot. I'm like, he's gonna go off the grid, and everything's gonna change. I just knew it. But in my mind, I thought like, he's off, hiking, he's, in the mountains somewhere. Well, he was. And he was thinking about me. But that's because he had an accident, and he was at the bottom of a ravine for 2 nights and 3 days. He broke his neck. And some of you, it was 21:43. For some of you, you already know this. For some of you, you're like, maybe you didn't see that story going that way, or you didn't know. But yeah, it's going to get graphic. So I'm just going to tell you what happened. Here we are. On Saturday, a week ago today, I was thinking about him the whole time. I was like, I felt him coming to me. I felt him. I felt the love. I felt him thinking of me. I just felt everything. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. And I kept thanking Spirit for pushing me to send that video, and pushing me to like reach out to him, and pushing me to go beyond my comfort zone, to be vulnerable, to tell him that I loved him, to tell him that like, no matter what, like his addictions or whatever, like I fucking loved him. So I wanted to have my phone on last Saturday, and Spirit told me to turn my phone off. I wrote for several hours. I wrote some of the best stuff I've ever written in my book. I'm so excited. The book is coming so close to the end that I'm in awe of the story. I'm in awe of this beautiful, magnificent gift that Spirit gave me to share with all of you through my life experiences. But if I didn't have my phone off, the first time he texted me was 12:30. The second time was like 12:36, and then like 12:37 or something. It was like, but there were 2 different texts. But I had my phone off. I started writing probably around noon, right before noon, like right before he texted me, I believe. I started writing, and I wrote all afternoon. And then finally at around 4:30, I heard, turn your phone on right now. And I felt Edward, and I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, he's coming home. And I felt this kind of like really cool energy, like, cool, he's coming home. Instead, I see these texts, and the first one says, I'm coming home. The second one said, I'm in really bad shape. So I'm like, what happened? Are you okay? I tried calling him. He wasn't picking up his phone. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I just said, okay, of course, come here. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, just get here. And he showed up within an hour. When the car pulled up, I don't know, I've never done this before, but it was like a movie. I just like ran out to him, like burst through the doors and like ran out to him. And when I saw him, I didn't know what to think, to be honest with you. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen a human being look like that without being in a hospital. for all of the shows that I watch, from all the cop shows to the lawyer shows to the supernatural shows to like whatever, for all the zombies and decapitations and blood and gore and whatever, nothing prepares you for seeing someone that you love that much and that deeply look like someone tried to kill them and they survived. He had lacerations all over his body. He had a laceration on his neck that literally looked like somebody slit his throat. It looked like somebody tried to cut off his head and didn't make it. He couldn't talk. He looked like he had swallowed an anaconda instead of an anaconda swallowing something else. He was a mess. There was blood everywhere. I mean, it was everywhere. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be graphic, but it was horrific. It was like a murder scene. And then he was like, I was like, I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm like, what happened? And I was like, honestly, it was like I was outside of myself. I mean, I'm usually the kind of person that in a trauma situation is the one that's calm and tries to calm everybody else down. But it's different when it's you, and it's different when it's someone that you love and you're just like, I mean, I was like, how are you alive right now? I just knew he was in really fucking bad shape. And so I was like, we need to go to the hospital. And our landlord's a CNA. So like she had a friend over, she had a car in her driveway. And, you know, we're on 10 acres. I ran in the house. I didn't see them. I didn't hear them. I saw wine on the table. There was food. And I was like, oh my God, there may be more than, there was one car. I'm like, maybe there's people. And, you know, I was like, I ran outside. I didn't see them. And I didn't even hesitate. I just came back and he was kind of like sitting down. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't talk. And I was like, he was trying to talk. And I'm like, don't talk. I'm like, just don't talk. I'm like, we need to go to the hospital. And I'm like, give me the keys. And he was like, and he just like got in to drive. And I was like kind of in shock. And, you know, my license is expired, but I don't fucking care. Like, I'm like, you can't drive like that. And he just like looked at me like I just drove here, you know? And I was like, and so basically what I got out of him, he was like not doing well. I was like, pull over. He was like in and out of it. But I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It was as if there was just an energy that was like pulling this like very broken meat sack like in the car. Like it was just, I can't. Like even looking back on it, I'm like, there's almost like I want to feel shame around it because I'm just like, how did I let him drive? Like it was crazy. It was like 20 minutes. Like, but we got to the hospital and we brought him there, and there was an emergency room full of people, and it was like nobody else existed. It was like they saw him and they were like, holy shit, you know. And I had a mask on, but he didn't. Well, I just like pulled this. I mean, I didn't even fucking care, but they wouldn't let me in. And basically, long story short is I got him admitted into the hospital. They weren't going to let me in, but they had to. He couldn't speak, so I had to speak for him. And on the way there, what I can kind of get from him, just from him kind of trying to nod and, you know, whatever, was that he went out on his own, or that he was hiking on Mount Hood. So we live in the Mount Rainier Valley by Yelm. And so, and Lacey, and why we went to the Lacey Hospital. And so, or the hospital, it's like Olympia, but Lacey, like whatever. And it was just this very shocking, horrible, crazy thing that happened. And how he got out of where he was and into the car. And then it took him, I guess by the time he got back to the car, he kept passing out, and the car looks like a murder scene. I keep trying to clean it, and I just can't do it. I know I will, or I know whatever, but the truth is he's talking now, and he's the kind of person, he's so brave and he's so strong that like he knows how sensitive I am, that I know if I was like, I can't do it, he'd be like, I'll do it, like don't worry about it, but I'm gonna try and do it. We'll see before he comes home from the hospital. But if I can't, I'm not gonna stress myself. I've been stressing myself about it for days, and I'm like, you know, I've tried like 3 different times and I almost threw up. But and also just because as an empath, like I can feel the energy in there, and it feels like death in there, it smells like death in there. It's a very scary thing. So once he got out of where he was, where he had fallen, the sad thing is that, you know, he's the person that's always like, you know, don't go without a buddy, like don't hike without a buddy, good person. Or he's always, well, he goes, but like for other people, and he's always like pushing, you know, make sure you have some food and water, like you never know, $29.49. But at the same time, he had food and water, but he had a broken neck and a broken larynx because of what happened and the way he fell. He couldn't swallow anything. He kept choking everything back up. So he couldn't, so he had no food and water. He was so, it was, luckily he's the type of person that like doesn't burn, and he can be outside for really long periods of time. He's Native American, Scottish, or anyway, it doesn't matter right now. I was gonna say, I think Scottish, Irish, and what's the Vikings from up there in Viking? I was saying Viking, but you know what I'm talking about. I can't, Norwegian. I couldn't. But he was so, you could tell he was like in the sun. Oh, I was like, baby. I mean, the whole thing is just like, it's a miracle. I mean, the doctor said it was a miracle he was alive. They're like, literally the first doctor that I spoke to is the nicest doctor ever, Dr. Lincoln. I will always be forever grateful to him. He's worth every dollar, every dime, every, whatever his paycheck is, because I'm sure he's a phenomenal doctor, but also he just was so kind and so nice. And like, he answered all my questions. He was so patient with me, and it was like 11 o'clock at night. You know, I don't know what his schedule was or whatever. It didn't matter. I'm just saying, like, it was as if nothing else mattered in the world but like the questions I was asking him, which was very, very kind of him. But he said, he told me, he was very honest with me, and he told me all the things that could happen. He told me that he was on his way to the trauma unit in Seattle, and they were in shock. He asked me, he kept asking me, he's like, he drove here. He's like, I don't even know how he was sitting. He's like, his neck is broken. He had no spinal cord injury. Thank God. Like, there's so many things that he was just like, I don't know how he did it. He's like, I don't know how he did it. He's like a superhero. And I was like, he is a superhero. I've always said that he's a really powerful shaman. And so yeah, so that's basically like what happened. That's the first part of the story I got, until I went to visit him in the hospital. And after he could, speak more, he was on machines and everything, and the feeding tube and all that. But oh, by the way, today's a really great thing. He passed the test. There are no holes. He hasn't been able to swallow. So they've had him on tubes. He's had to be on feeding tubes and the breath thing, and keeping his mouth and his throat like moist and stuff with like whatever. But he's alive, and he doesn't have a broken back. I mean, he's been walking. It was so funny. I said something to him, and he's like, he goes, I got to the car, and he's like, and I walked into the emergency room. He's like, I walked at the house. I was like, I know, but it's still all, so there's so many bits and pieces, and there's so much to tell, and there's so much to say. And like I said, I really want him to tell his side of the story. But so that's what I got until I went to the hospital. Then when I went to the hospital, he told me he was very different. I could sense that he was different, but when I got to the hospital, I could see he was different. He always had one eye that was darker than the other eye. And I've commented on it many times. And sometimes, like, I would always focus on his left eye, because his left eye was very airy and light and very fairy-like, and like hazel with green, just beautiful. But his right eye was like more of like a brown and beautiful, and it had like gold specks and stuff in it, but it was definitely darker. So the very first thing I noticed when I got into the hospital and I got close to him and I like kissed his face and I like really looked in his eyes, they were the same color. They were the same as the left. It's still a tinge darker, but like not much, like not like the way it was before. So after, we finally like settled in, and, they had given him, he had given himself kind of like a sponge bath or whatever with these things. But then I came in, and as I was like kind of like wiping and washing his hair and brushing his hair and just, like cleaning him up and just giving him, I brought tons of essential oils for him to smell. I brought, crystals and built an altar and, made it really awesome for him. Brought tons of stuff. Dr. Wayne Dyer's like his buddy. So I was like, I thought you'd like a friend. I'm like, I know you've read this book so many times, but on the cover is like a great picture of Dr. Wayne Dyer's sweet smiling face next to an ocean, which Ed loves the ocean. So I was like, it's all about the visuals, And it was really great. Like once we reconnected, it was really great. But then he told me the story. And he told me bits and pieces, so I'm only going to tell you what I know to be sure right now. And that is, he left his phone at his friend's house that are right below the mountain. He drove up to Mount Hood with no phone, and he was prepared, like, he parked his car like he was prepared to, like, fully go off-grid. No phone, no nothing. Just like him and the elements to face his demons. Because he was tired of the addiction ruining our relationship, and he hated how much it was killing me every time this happened. He's like, by the way, he wrote me a death letter. It was gut-wrenching. But it was interesting. On the new moon, I burned it, and I did a ceremony, a ritual for him. And I said, I was just like, let me ask Ed's higher self, is it okay if I tell them what Ed said in his new moon ritual? No, I'll let him tell you. I was about to tell you, but I just texted him and I said, hey, I'm going to burn, these papers, because you're alive and we want you to stay alive. I'm like, so, like, what do you, 3603, I said, what do you want me to say? Ooh, which is the number 12, the pandatribe 12. Oh, and the number 6. Ed and I have been having all these 6s, and I'll have to like put some information about 666 and like how special it is, and how, a lot of people think it's the devil's number. It's not. But Ed and I, like, all of the numbers, like both rooms that he's been in, both came down to a 6 number. Like so many things around us were like 6s. It was really, really interesting. It was like, I felt like it's because we've had all these 5s, and 5s are all about change and like, not having control, over things, whatever. And 6 is kind of like you're coming back, like you're past 5, like keep going, kind of thing. So that's what I feel like it's for. But anyway, so I did that ritual for him. But when we were, so I burned the paper and everything, and I did it like right when it was like the darkest, like it was at 9:41 p.m. Was when they said it was like the darkest for the new moon. And when I went out there, I heard closer to 10. And when I went out there, Baba was outside, and she came out, and we sat in the middle of the road on our dead end street, and we looked up, and I'm like in farm country, so it was the stars were so bright, you guys. I swear it was as if I had an audience. It was amazing, and I felt it. Like I felt like all of them were there. I invoked like all of our like angels and guardians and stuff before I did the ritual, and I burned it, and I just got chills, and it was just super, super, super powerful. But when I was in the hospital, Ed told me that he went up there to face his demons, and he called them out, and that's how he got hurt. And he hasn't told me the full story yet, but they came for him, and he said there was about 60 of them, and he said death was there. And he said, I was so close to death, because I was, I believe everything. I've seen so many things. I've witnessed so many things. I've been physically thrown by demons. So like, I know like shit exists, right? But I also am always like, the protagonist in me, or I should say not even the protagonist, but I think the person who always wants to get to the truth of something instead of, I don't want someone to make something out of something that it's not, right? If they don't need to go there and suffer that turmoil. So I said, are you sure you weren't just, I'm like, you had no food and water, you were injured. The craziest part was, and I don't want to get super emotional about this, but 38, 37, the saddest part is when he started to tell me how he couldn't breathe. And so after he was telling me that, I was so emotional. I can't talk about it right now because he was emotional, and then I was emotional, and he was like, every breath I gasped for, I had to work for. And he's like, you don't even understand how much we take breathing for granted until you can't breathe. And I was like, wow, talk about message of hope, right? And during that time, I said, are you sure you weren't maybe hallucinating and you saw things? Like, and it wouldn't be hallucinating because he really saw it, right? But I was like, were they really there, like in physical form? Or do you think you just like were out of it and like you traveled somewhere to like some common, because that's happened to me too. Like I've gone I've, been in sessions, with singing bowls and shamans, where like my spirit leaves my body and I go to different places. So like that's what I was kind of getting at. Like, are you sure you didn't go somewhere else? And he was like, I don't really know. Which is why I'm also excited to like, I'm like, dude, I can't wait you can like smoke weed again. I'm like, I want to like smoke a bowl with you and like hear the whole fucking story, But I do know that death was there. And he said no. And he said, all I thought about was us. And all I thought about was getting home to you. And so when he finally, after laying there for a few days, the Dr. Lincoln, meant to get back to that. Dr. Lincoln said, with the kind of injuries that Edward sustained, he said, most people don't live in the first 24 hours. The doctor told me that. So when a doctor tells you something like that, you're like, okay, anybody else can tell you something. But when someone's like, I'm telling you, these are like insane injuries. He's like, I can't believe I can't believe he drove that far. So when Ed finally got out of where he was or whatever happened, he made his way to the car, but it took him several times of like passing out and waking up. And I was kind of wondering how that happened, because I was like, did he have pen and paper with him? Like when he fell, like, did he write it when he was like, the death letter to me? I'm like, did he write it then? But then I was like, no, I could tell. It was like, no, he was in his car and he just like grabbed a piece of paper he could find, which was his bank statement, which is really interesting, and a pen, and he wrote on the back of that. And I wondered, because it was blood all over it. So I was just like, I was kind of trying to figure it out. And you can tell like his writing wasn't super, coherent, obviously, but he was very coherent. Like the message was coherent, but his writing, you can see, was frail. Like it was hard for him to write. And that was like, ripped me apart, because when I left him at the first hospital, and I didn't even realize what was happening until the nurses were like, he's not going anywhere. You need to go home and you need to rest. We'll call you. He's not like, we promise we'll call you. There's nothing you can do, and you cannot stay in the waiting room. You have to leave. And I was like, oh my God. I was like kind of in shock, and I'm like, okay. And I remember looking at one of the nurses and I was like, my license is expired. She goes, I think it's going to be okay. You need to just go home. Okay. Like she was so good. She was so calm. And I was like, okay. Like you could tell they're like, are you okay to drive? And I'm like, yeah. And then I got out to the car, but when I went to open the car door, there was blood all outside the car door. And when I got in, there was blood all inside the car door. There was blood all over the steering wheel, the dashboard, everywhere. And then when I went to, I had forthright to bring water with me just in case he needed it. But when we, I know he always has paper towels. So the place was, it was crazy. It was insane. Everything was insane. The whole car looked like a crazy place. But I was like, I rode in this car. Like, I barely remembered even getting to the hospital. I was so in shock, just especially because his neck was, I could see his tendons and stuff. So I was like, this is like, seriously, it was fucking crazy. It was like Night of the Living Dead, but he was alive. And so I'm with paper towels, at least trying to like wipe down the steering wheel, wipe down, all of that shit, trying to wipe down the blood, trying to, just so that I can get home. Just so that I was like, it was just insane. It was insane. But hearing that, like, he was like, it took him from, he left on Tuesday. I can't remember if he said he fell Tuesday night or if he fell Wednesday night. No, it had to have been, because he thinks, I feel like we still need to go through the whole story, because he said it was 2 nights and 3 days. Well, he got to me on Saturday. So, I don't know. He says he was outside, like in, wherever he was stuck, wherever he fell and got hurt. He was there for 2 nights because he remembers like 2 night times. But then he got himself to the car. And then he said he spent the night in the car, but he drove. I guess he drove a little bit on Friday, and he drove to his friends and got his phone. I'm like, you didn't knock on the door. He's like, they weren't home. I'm like, what? I'm like, and the whole time I'm like, why didn't you go? I'm like, why didn't you go to a hospital? I don't understand. Like, why didn't you like call an ambulance? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, what? You know, like, why? And he's like, I just had to get home. I wanted to get home. I needed to get home to you. He was so afraid he was going to die that it was like the letter wasn't enough. He was going to try everything. He literally fought and fought and fought to get to me. And it was so cute. I was like, my one friend and I were in the car, and she like started to cry. She's like, I just love this love story. And I'm like, I know. It's like, it's interesting. I thought I was going to bawl my eyes out, but I'm really good. I think it's because I've been crying for like a week, and so many people have allowed me to, you know, speak, and I've just been recording videos and like putting them on my Instagram, like when I need to talk about it. But it's hard. I haven't really wanted to talk to many people one-on-one. And, you know, when I was at the hospital, you know, I'm like a little over an hour from Seattle, and, you know, my license, I didn't care about my license, but our one car broke down, and so he was flipping this other car, and so he's been trying to transfer our plates onto the other car, but with everything that's been going on, he's been on like this waiting list or whatever, and he's had permit after permit, but he didn't get the last permit, so he said fuck it, he just switched the plates over, and he's got the information, the paperwork. But I was just like, I didn't want to drive with an expired 3 years expired license and a car that has the wrong license plates on it. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's just not worth it. I'm pretty sure I would have got there fine, and everything would have been fine, but I was just like, it was meant to be. But my beautiful friends drove me there, and with their toddler, which was really great, because I had like the energy of like this beautiful little light being, and they're powerful light, you know, beings, and it was just like being with family, you know, so it was really nice. But just being with them all the way there, and then I was at the hospital for 7 hours, and just like being there, and the masks and all that energy, and one of his nurses was a pill, and was like really prejudiced against like our beliefs and stuff, and that was uncomfortable. That's a whole other story in itself. But you know, it was a long day, and then, you know, they came to get me sometime after 7, and then we did stuff afterwards, and then we came back here and we even talked more. So by the time like I was like with people for like 13 hours, and when I was in the hospital, I was giving Ed Reiki and working on him, and, you know, just paying attention to him and bathing him and taking care of him, and you know, from when I took him to the hospital Saturday until Wednesday when I made it to Seattle to the trauma unit, the trauma hospital, whatever you call it, you know, it's like I was cleaning the house and taking care of things, and taking care of you know, we don't have a washer and dryer. I had to hand wash all of his clothes, so I want to make sure he had some clothes that he can wear, like comfy clothes of his own. And then just like, you know, food for myself, and, you know, because I have all my food allergies and stuff, and so, well, I don't have allergies, I just won't eat shit food. So, you know, I'm like, I didn't want to concern myself with like eating food in the cafeteria. It was just a long, you know, time. So then Thursday I was like zonked out. I was so fucking drained, I could barely move. And then yesterday, Friday, I had intentions to do other things, but then I had to take care of a bunch of stuff for Edward with bills and his insurance company, and all this shit that, you know, happened because, you know, he was gone. And so it's just been like one thing after the other. 47, 59, ooh, 48. Oh, and Ed and I are both 48, which is also the number 10 about completion. So he's going to tell me the full story. I know that there's bits and pieces that I'm leaving out, but the bottom line is that today they did a test, and he did a swallow test, and they found no holes, so that's a really good sign. So I have my phone on right now. I don't normally keep my phone on during shows or readings or anything like that, but I kept it on just in case he reaches out to me. So I said, let me know when they let you try and drink something on your own. So please keep praying for him, and please send him Reiki, energy, good vibes, all that good stuff for healing. He's doing really, really well, and you know, he's going to have one story to tell when this is over, and he's a phenomenal writer. And I said, I really hope you write a book, because people need to know that, you know, hope is real, and when we believe that we can achieve something, we can do it. And you know what he did is not for the faint of heart. He sought out his demons, and they came to him, and it was the way he explained it, it seriously sounded like something you'd see in a movie, you know, where they like took their turns like beating the fuck out of him, and like it sounds like I don't know if they threw him off of something and he fell into a ravine. I don't know exactly. He will tell us the story, when the time comes. But in his life, he has been through more traumatic experiences than any other human being that I know. He was hit by a bus when he was 9, and he was dead for 14 minutes, I believe. Some people in his family say it's 28 minutes, but I think I think it was him or his mom or somebody was like, no, it was like 14 minutes. But either way, like, he was pronounced dead. Like, he was dead. So for all intents and purposes, like, his heart was stopped and all that. So that happened to him, and he came back from that. And then when he was in his 20s, he also suffered a horrible head injury from an attack, and he lived through that. And he's been through addictions to drugs and alcohol and sex addiction. And, you know, he's someone who's dealt with sexual trauma and rape and horrible things that have happened to him and horrible things he did to other people because of his trauma. And so the last few years, he's been working intensely with therapy and trying to become the incredible light worker that he was brought here to be. But boy, talk about soul contracts. He bought himself one hell of a soul contract, because to go through that many things in one lifetime is unprecedented and unheard of, really. So I'm going to shuffle some cards from the decks. So we'll start at 5054, which is the number 14, which is also the number 5. Oh, and then 5058. Okay, so these are the decks that wanted to speak to us. The Gypsy Witch, the Enchanted Unicorn Oracle, the Wisdom of Avalon, the Divine Feminine, the Crystal Oracle, and the Wild Unknown Archetypes. Okay? So I'm going to pick some. I'm going to leave this card here from the Wild Unknown Archetypes, and I'm just going to pull some cards from each deck, and then I'll let Spirit pull the cards as we go. So for this message of hope, Spirit, what is the message of hope that you would like to give the tribe today for Ed's incredible, amazing story and message of hope and change? Thank you. Okay, so I heard this one for sure. And then there's something with these two, like I need to like needle through, they're saying, like, because there's some that we're getting stuck in and they want to, they said it'll come out. They want me to shuffle. Okay. Ooh, we may end up pulling this to the side and pulling one at the end. So let's see if that's what it is. Nope. There we go. Any more? Any more from this? Ooh, shit. Any more from this deck? Any more from this deck? Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. So we may, let me find out. Let me ask Spirit. We're pulling for, okay. For a split second, I thought they were like wanting to do a pick a pile or pick a card, and I was like, you know me, I'm always like, sure, whatever you want me to do. Whatever you want me to do, I will do it. Okay, so that's what we have for these so far. And we'll put these over here. And the Wisdom of Avalon. Isn't that a wild story? I mean, it's like, you know, this is why I'm like, people have to tell their stories. This is why we're all sharing this information, you know. It's because we are here, you know, to inspire each other, to be each other's cheerleaders, to help each other, you know, carry on and keep going, because it is rough out there right now. It is rough on multiple levels. I mean, it's like so many of the doctors, like his team of doctors at the trauma hospital when I was there on Wednesday, like they were just like, I mean, the one surgeon said to me, he goes, what really freaks me out. He was really honest about it. He was a young doctor. He was really cool, actually. Dr. Cash. I really liked him. I think it was Dr. Cash. It was either Dr. Cash or Dr. Lincoln, now that I'm thinking about it. But either way, they had said that they had prepped him for, no, it had to have been, but actually, now that I think about it, it might have been the psychiatrist who told me this. I just know a few people told me different things, and I can't remember now. So I've talked to so many different medical professionals at this point that I'm like, I can't remember who was who, and I was in shock in a lot of it. But anyway, doesn't matter. when Edward arrived at the trauma hospital in the middle of the night on Saturday, it was like, I guess 1 a.m. or something when they looked at him, and they were like, holy shit, like they knew they were going to have to do reconstructive surgery. They were going to have to, like, you know, his neck had been exposed for all that, and he was infected and all this stuff. And they were like, we have to put him on, you know, steroids and all this shit. So the doctor said that he looked at him with the scope down the nose. You know, he did that when he first got there, and then they were like, they wanted to get fluids in him and get him strong enough to like survive, you know, the surgery. So he said that when they went back in, they had him stable and kept a watch on him until, like, I guess 5 or 6 in the morning. They were going in like 3 or 4 hours later to operate. And he said when they got in there, he could not believe how fast he had healed. He was like, he's like, it was seriously like they never seen anything like it. They're like, it was really like unnatural. Like they were like, that's insane. I'm like, no, he is strong. I'm like, he is not like other people. Plus, I had sent a message out to our Panda tribe through Instagram, and you know, and I had like little mini covens, you know, little groups all over the world that were like, you know, sending Reiki and like, you know, we're really powerful, right? This Panda tribe, we are powerful, powerful, powerful motherfuckers. So it didn't shock me or surprise me at all that that is what happened. It's still, though, you know, it's like, wow, like that's crazy, that's crazy, that's crazy. So that's it for those. Okay. Isn't that wild? So it's the power of prayer too, you know. It's like, it's not just the rituals and all that. It's the ooh, for some reason they want me to do the crystal one right now. It must be the energy or something. So, message of hope. What's our message of hope from the crystals? What do the crystals have to say to us today? Hey crystals. Oh, it's been a minute since we've spoke to each other. Any other, whoa, okay. Any other cards that want to speak with us today? Any other messages through, crystals that want to speak with us, crystals and stones? That's it? Okay, thank you. We appreciate you. Put you over there. Okay. I'm just going to check my phone just in case, because I did turn my thing off earlier, and I'm like, now I'm all like, did I turn it back on? Okay, good. Because it's exciting, you know? I want to know when he's going to be able to drink water on his own. That's exciting. He said they were going to let him know. Like, they did the test, but they're not 100%. I mean, the test is good, but, like, anyway, you know what I mean. What's our message of hope, Spirit? What's our message of hope? What's our message of hope? What's our message of hope? What's our message of hope today? For the tribe, for the pandas. Hey, unicorns. Hey, Galactic Council. I feel you guys here, man. I feel you guys. I feel you through these cards. I feel you guys through these cards right here. Man, this energy. The Priestess Moon. There is some really spectacular energy with the Priestess Moon. Just unbelievable. That's it. Okay. One more at the bottom. Oh, they just want to show us a little cheat. All souls. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Like, this was like a message to us. Hey, you guys. Like, this is from our spirit guides right now. It's also the number 20. It's number 24, but it's also the number 6. But also, what's in succession, right? 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Light workers. Light workers. Yay, light workers. Yay. I feel like this is spirituous right now. You know, it's funny. I'm gonna put this here. I feel like, you know, I was a cheerleader growing up, and so many people who know me, like the way I am and how I swear and all that, they're like, you were a cheerleader? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I was a really good cheerleader, actually. And then some people would be like, oh, dude, I could totally see you as a cheerleader, you know? I guess it just, you know, depends on, you know, the way people perceive you. So I always think that's kind of funny. Ooh, they're saying, not yet. We're going to keep these. We're going to take them out of the box, but not yet. Ooh, I almost feel nauseous picking these up. It's the witches, right? Okay, you guys, so listen, as most of you know, this is on my little Chromebook, so I don't have a pause button. So if we can just take a moment, I would put music on, but actually, you know what, I can, because if I put it on YouTube, and if for some reason this didn't, here. Oh, look at that! It's freezing for me. Okay, so I'll be right back, all right? I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. No, I'm not sick. I just partook of a little bit of cannabis to start this reading. Hey guys, what's up? Okay, so, all right, tribe. This is some crazy stuff, isn't it? Like, what's happening? But at the same time, you know, I don't want you guys to be freaked out because, you know, I love this cucumber and oak moss. It's like one of the most amazing candles I've ever had. It's so light, but you can feel like it smells really good, but it doesn't like affect, you know what I mean? Like it's, anyway. Hold on, let me get centered. Let me get back into grace. Okay, thank you, Spirit. I'm going to put a thing below though that says, you know, like, you know, you can go, or I should say, well, it'll be too late for you guys. No, I should have said, go to the timestamp below to take you so you don't have to be there for the pause. Anyway, I just looked over. Ed messaged me, but it's just something through YouTube. It's not a message, so I'll have to look at it later. Okay. Just trying to make sure he's okay. All right. You guys can't really see me now that I'm back there. I should say, hi, I'm right here. Okay. This isn't about me right now, is it? It is about all of us, all souls. So let's see what our message of hope is. So this could go down there. Okay, that's good to know. All souls. Now here are the cards that we pulled. We pulled a lot of cards, you guys. This is going to be a long one. It's already over an hour. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Although, you know what? I'm going to ask them about this because this feels like a lot of divine feminine. And I know that we're in that right now. Like we're in a really strong divine feminine cycle. Like I understand that, but still, is it in our greatest and highest good to use all of these cards? Look at this. Ah, yes. Oh my gosh. Should I put any of them away? I mean, is there any of them that we shouldn't? Okay. You know me. I don't argue. I do as I'm told. Okay, so let's break them up a little bit, though. They're saying break them up, break them up, break them up, break them up, break them up. Okay. Because some of these decks are newer. I haven't really used them enough, so thanks for hanging in here, you guys. Ooh, I just saw one of our cards. Ooh, I wonder if that's going to be our first card. Okay. I know it's a little, I know I'm being a little sloppy today, but my creative will come back. Right now I'm, okay. Oh, divinity, number 19. Balance the physical and spiritual. Okay, so this reading is a message of hope, right? So, divinity, balance the physical and spiritual, number 19. Divinity. With that being said, let's bring in the selenite. The selenite will be a good balance. And it's also 19, which is the number 10, which is about completion. Very cool. What do you want to do, little one? You want to come back here? I feel like this one wants to be out, but it wants to, like, I feel like it wants to be here. So let me find something to... Okay. It's like, I feel like it's just like, again, like our little cheerleader, right? Like, just wants to be our cheerleader. Here we go. There we go. Yay! You guys are the best. You guys are the best. I guess I don't need to shuffle the book. Okay. Okay, what else are messages of hope? Oh yeah, I forgot this card fell on the floor. We've gotten this card before. Perception. And look at that. 24 and 42. Come on. Perception, 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 perception. Yeah, I mean, perception is, actually I could do this here. Perception's a pretty big deal, right? I mean, how we perceive things, how we look at the world. And also, you know, how high up, how low are we looking at things? I feel like I want to build a story, or I feel like this is telling a story. So I'm going to just go with the flow. Teresa of Avila, Our Lady of the Interior Life. I trust the answers I find within me. I know that the presence of love is real. Yes. I'll tell you what, I may cry during this. I'm just going to let you know. Because all of a sudden I was just like, I'm like, oh, Mama needs to smell salt. I'm like, it's right now. I'm just like, honestly, you guys, if you're not in the Panda tribe, I feel like this needs to go a different way. Maybe this way? Because I don't want the cards to fall down. Here we go. Hold on. But I really started to understand that I'm like, man, the capacity of love that it takes to really like be open and be vulnerable. Love means, like, unconditional love means genuinely loving somebody even if you should quote unquote hate them. Loving them anyway, because you know, we are all here on our own path. Like, we are all going through different things, and you know, we're not here to judge each other on our path, right? I feel like she wants to be here because it says all souls, you know. It's like in the bird. It's just so beautiful. I mean, that's what I got from it, you know. I mean, fuck, I don't think I really, I mean, I said it in one of my videos in my Instagram, was that I'm like, I genuinely didn't understand what like unconditional love meant, because, well, actually that's not true. I think I should say this way. I was raised that love had conditions in terms of like, hold on. There's a message coming through. It's from my grandma. So like my grandma's saying, like, I had some family members who loved me unconditionally, and then I had some family members that put a lot of conditions on, you know, like, this made me unlovable, right? Because I was weird. I got tattoos. Like, why couldn't I be like everybody else? Like, you know, I started getting tattoos on my arms when, you know, not a lot of women who had tattoos on their arms showed people, because, you know, it meant you were trampy, trashy, you know, whatever. Just a lot of, I'm 48 years old, so there's just a lot of like programming that was put around me, and my family were catered a lot to like what was like good, like what was, you know, the norm for, you know, in the world, right? Like, we had to be like everybody else. Like, God forbid that you're, or Goddess forbid that you're like anybody else, or you know what I mean, like that you are your own person. Sorry, there's like a bunch of messages coming through, and there's this, I don't know who's doing this, but do you see this? There's this really fidgety energy. It does not feel like mine. So I mean, they even like just put them like in order. Did you see how fast that was? That was crazy. This is where I'm totally being a channel right now, which is, that's fine, it's cool. I'm like, I'm letting this happen the way it's happening, letting it be, letting it be, letting it be, letting it be. But you guys, this is the kind of controlling and programming that we need to let go of and avoid. It's not helping us in any way. It's not helping us in any way. If anything, it's just like bringing out the darkness in us. And it's okay if we're learning from it. But if we're just living in like the darkness and like not, all right, you guys, I've had enough of that. I'm like, okay, I've had enough of that. Let's all take a breather. This could be multiple, there are multiple people who watch this, so it could be multiple people's energies. You have to remember, we're a tribe, right? We're a tribe, so we're very similar. We have very similar energy, so we can't, and we have to be patient and give unconditional love. When I'm a channel like this, I'm letting the energy work through, okay? So let's just take a few deep breaths. Breathe. Drink some water. Chill out. We're going to take my awesome heart rock. Love this rock. It looks like a lot of different things, actually. I mean, ooh, 111 when I looked down. It was 111.47. Okay. Ooh, which is also 14 in the number 5. There's a cool, playful energy here. Hello, fairies. I'm surprised the fairies haven't come through. This one's coming through right now. Okay, so this one wants to speak. Oh, 22, rainbow. Oh, I love it. And 2 and 2 is 4. Oh, feel the peace. Look at that. That's what they're trying to say, right? So that fidgety energy, that whole thing that we all just had to endure, that's just everything that we're all going through, right? Like, I even said on one of my videos recently, I said, there's not enough weed in the world. I'm like, I'm trying, but man, I'm like, it's like, there's just this energy and there's so much like taking over. When I went to the hospital to see Ed on Wednesday, like, there were so many things that kept trying to glom onto me. That was the other reason why I was so tired. I'm like, I don't think people get it. Like, I'm a channel, I'm an empath. Like, I can see things. They know that. Like, there was a discussion Ed and I had when we were in the hospital where we both were like, I'm like, can you feel that? And I was like, it was like, I felt like there was people were pressing on my chest and on my lungs, and I was like feeling all these different energies. It was so fucking intense. Like, no wonder why I was wiped out, right? And Ed and I both experienced ghosts while we were in there. We experienced people who are stuck in there, that they died, but they're like kind of in this, like, you know, limbo. And I was just kind of, it's interesting because, like, if it were me visiting people in the hospital, I probably would have been taking my fairy dust all over. As it was, I made food for the nurses and the doctors, and I brought plums from our orchards and on the farm, and you know, I did spread my fairy dust everywhere, but in that way. But this was different. This was like, I didn't really want to leave Ed's room, and every time I had to go to the bathroom or like leave to go eat or whatever, because I was there for several hours, I was just like, I just had my bubble up, man. I just couldn't. There was too much. I'm in a fucking trauma hospital. I'm an empath in a trauma hospital. I'm like, motherfucker, for 7 hours straight. Not to mention the whole time, like, it's not his fault, but Ed's on like these machines, right? So like they're like making noise, and like his thing where it's like, you know, like but you know, you don't want to make someone feel bad. And I had to tune it out. But man, it took a lot of work. I had to do a lot of meditations before I went there. I had to do like a transmission from spirit and call upon the archangels. Like, I went in there with a fucking team, man. It was intense. So I get it. You know, it's like, we are here to bring the peace, but how can we bring the peace if we are not at peace? So get quiet, meditate. If you have not listened to any Steve Noble meditations, please do. Go to his playlist and he's got transmissions, he has meditations, and he has affirmations. All 3 of them are fucking boss. So, which in old lady speak means cool as shit. So, you know, take some time and go and find some. It's Steve Noble. It's like Noble, I think, like Noble, not like Nobel Peace Prize, but like the last name Noble, I think. But you'll find him. Anyways, I'll put one below. I'll put at least one thing below so it at least can take you to his page. But highly recommend you do one and start meditating. If you're not meditating, meditate every day. I'm telling you, one day I can feel it. One day I can feel it. You gotta meditate several times a day if you can. You know, even if it's mindful driving, like just driving meditation, just getting in the car and going for a drive, a peaceful drive. You know, freeway driving is actually really therapeutic because you don't have to keep stopping and starting and whatever. It's like, you know, and going, you know, at a time where there's obviously not rush hour traffic, but that could be helpful. Or just going on an old country road, you know, but driving safely and keeping your wits about you, you know. Number 3, snacks. Release judgments around food. You know, I've been hearing this from a lot of people. I've been reading for so many people since this quarantine has been going on. And all over the world, by the way. I've been speaking with people all over the world, not just in America. So, you know, and there's so many people who watch this that are from all over the world. Anyway, so many of you have mentioned that you've gained weight. And this is number 30. Oh, number 3. I love the number 3. Look at that, 2, 3. We've had 2, 3, 4, and 6 so far. But so many of you have commented that you've gained weight, and I'm like, I don't care if you've gained weight. That's okay, you know, like, just do what you have to do right now. All I ask is just try and eat foods that don't have chemicals in them, you know. or pesticides or things like that that are just going to lower your vibration or are going to weaken your immune system. Because right now, I think there's a reason why, you know, a lot of us aren't getting sick because, you know, we're really powerful light workers and we've awakened. And so to keep us healthy, we need to keep our, you know, our human avatars, we need to keep them safe. We need to take care of them. We can't just keep abusing them. You know, what would be helpful for us is to start looking at it like this, for instance. I've had multiple people and opportunities to go to the store and buy food, and every time I'll look in my cupboards, I've looked in the freezer and I look in the refrigerator and I'm like, nope, I have food, because I have food. I could go and get what I want, but I was like, no, I have food. And it's made me be super creative and using like, and it's taught me like how to make certain things where I'm like, oh, that tastes really good with like that. And I was like, I don't need this, I can make that. And it's so much less fat and it's so much less calories and that kind of stuff. So, you know, don't concern yourself about, you know, that, you know, if you need comfort food right now, do what you got to do. Just do it sensibly. You know, just don't be getting like a Betty Crocker box mix fucking cake, you know, and getting frosting, you know, like that kind of shit where it's just sugar and it's going to deplete you. Because another thing people don't realize, refined sugar lowers your immune system. All of these foods and all of these things, that these comfort things that we've been raised with, you have to remember that it's not the food that was the comfort. It was that you were getting something that you were enjoying and it comforted you. It's not the food. It's the experience. So if you change out the food, then you can still have the comfort food and feel good and, you know, energize your avatar, right? You can still have cake, but, you know, maybe you make it with coconut flour and coconut sugar instead of refined sugar and, you know, all-purpose flour that's got, you know, added agents and, you know, all these things that maybe your body doesn't need, you know. Like, I thought I was intolerant to wheat, and now I'm realizing I'm like, I'm not intolerant to wheat. If it's 100% whole wheat that hasn't been fucked with and hasn't been like, you know, grown on a mass, you know, produced state with chemicals, I actually can, in moderation. Everything is in moderation. And so if we start living our lives in moderation, then we don't have to like keep things from ourselves that we really want. Like these really yummy, you know, who doesn't want to have fucking cake? Now, some people don't have a sweet tooth, but who doesn't want to have a nice bag of chips? Well, you know what? You can now. There are so many different companies, independent people, you know, where it's not just like only Betty Crocker or only Doritos. Now it's like Packy Chips, the brand, I think it's PACQUI, and they're from, oh, I almost moved there. I got a tattoo there. Texas. Austin, thank you. They're based out of Austin. The Packy nacho cheese chips. Now I know they're expensive. They're like $4 or $5 for a bag this big, but I started looking at it like this. People are like, I can get a big bag of Doritos for that amount. I'm like, yes, you can. And then you'll stuff yourself with a bunch of fucking chemicals and shitty fucking food and shitty corn. It's not the corn's fault that it's been bastardized, but right, it's like shitty food. Even if you prey on it or whatever, you know, I prey on everything I eat. So if I'm in the company of somebody and they offer me food, unless it's something like meat or something I definitely won't partake, I'll have, you know, cake or something if somebody offers it to me. If Spirit's like, sure, you know, whatever. Sometimes I'll be like, no, thank you, or whatever. But what I'm basically trying to say is, if I pray over it and I thank it in my mind and I say, you know, it's filled with good nutrients for my body and soul, it's going to pass through quickly, blah, blah, blah. Like if I give myself that kind of energy, then the food does. But I don't want my body to have to work that hard every day, right? But once in a while, it's okay, right? Because your bodies are really strong. But I'm talking about this because I want you guys to start understanding it, right? But to me personally, I would rather spend $5 on one bag. And it's not always $5. It depends on the store. And if it's a bigger store like Fred Meyer by me out in the Northwest, I don't mind shopping at Fred Meyer. It's run by a family, and as far as I know, they're good people. I've never heard anything otherwise. But anyway, I don't go there all the time, but once in a while I do go there for certain things. And when I do, I always check their sales. And when they have them on sale, I'll get them for like $3.50. And for me, I'm like, I would rather spend $3.50 on a bag this big that I eat maybe that night or in a few days, but they taste better than Doritos. They're delicious. It's like, that's what they taste like, homemade Doritos, and that's exactly what they fucking are, right? So start like doing stuff like that with your food. If you love noodles and you're somebody who loves noodles, there are so many plant-based noodles now. Or, you know, there's, what was the one I used to love? Oh, kelp noodles. If you can get kelp noodles are so fucking delicious, and you can put them, kelp noodles are great because they stay kind of like the way they are. So they're good in soups, they're good in salads, they're good like to like make like, you know, like a cheesy noodle or whatever. And if you can have dairy or whatever, you know, just make sure it comes from a good source. If not, nutritional yeast is a really great substitute. I use nutritional yeast on my popcorn. When I want like cheese chips, I make homemade tortilla chips. There's just a lot of ways that it's time for us to be more cognizant of like our choices, and definitely on our food, right? This is a message of hope. So Spirit's saying like, don't give up on like your junk food and having a good time. What does it say on the bottom again? Release judgments around food. Yeah, like don't judge the food. It's like, did you ever see Mommy Dearest? For my Mommy Dearest fans, there's this really great scene where, you know, poor Joan Crawford, what a tortured soul. But apparently this really happened where, you know, she was so clean freak and whatever, like she was like, everything had to be very meticulous. And anyway, long story short, her cleaning lady was there, and she asked her if she cleaned around if she moved the plant to clean the floors. And she was like, no, you know, and she's like, well, come on, you know, I want to show you, and because she's a little controlling, whatever. But she moves the pot out of the way, and there's dirt there, and she's really mad, and the cleaning woman's like terrified, thinking she's gonna get fired, right? And she's like, I'm so sorry, Miss Crawford. I should have moved the plant. I'm really sorry. And she goes, I'm not mad at you, Helga. I'm mad at the dirt. Right? And she's like, now come on. And she wasn't really mad at her. She's mad at the dirt. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, don't be mad at the food. Be mad at like the energy that's been put around it, the judgment. Don't be mad at the dirt, you know, or be mad at the dirt, not at the food, right? Be mad at the judgment, the dirty judgment. Let's do the judgment and dirt. Get it, right? Because it's dirty. It's like judgment, dirty. But even that's judging it. Do you hear what I'm saying? Like, don't judge it. And when maybe your body wants to be that size. I stopped fighting my body. I stopped fighting it because I was like, you know what? My body just likes to be bigger. I just have to take. I got really spoiled when I was really thin that I didn't have to work out as much. And also because now I'm barely moving. But I was like, okay, what's the trade-off? I didn't feel good when I was looking at myself. I didn't feel like, and it was more like health-wise. Like I didn't look healthy, and I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was eating and shouldn't be eating, you know. And I didn't want to shit on myself. But, you know, it's like we kind of got to give ourselves like the truth, right? Like even when we don't want to hear the truth, get real with yourself and get real with your food choices. There are so many different options. Eventually, I'd really like to do a cooking portion when I get because it's happening. I'm manifesting a bigger house. When I get a bigger house, when I have a bigger kitchen and I can like set up a camera like this and like can show you guys whatever, I promise you, I will do more cooking. That's why I feel like it changed to the Panda tribe, because it's like, I started it as Lula's Labyrinth because I was singing, I was dancing, I was doing spirit work, I was doing cooking. Like if you look at my playlist, I have a bunch of stuff, hiking, but you know, then I kind of switched it to the Panda tribe because I was like, well, we've just been doing mainly spirit work, but I'm also, you know, I started doing the music ones again because I wanted you guys to like understand, you know, like that music is like so soothing and so healing for us, and like to give you more of, you know, the musical messages. Sorry, there's a lot of downloads coming through. Okay, Yamoja, the goddess of all that flows. I don't think I've ever seen this card. Goodness gracious, she's beautiful. I am an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. Look at her mermaid scales. Oh, and I say her because this is the goddess deck, so all of these cards are feminine energy. You know, like other cards, it's like I don't, you know, unless I get a certain, you know, energy. These are really provoking our feminine divine right now. Ooh, I love this card so much. I want to paint it. Wow. I bet these are paintings. They look like paintings. They're beautiful. I don't know that much about this deck, but isn't that beautiful? right? So going with the flow, not judging, right? Staying peaceful, staying centered, balance, right? Meditating and having alone time. Alone time is really important. I had a huge fucking meltdown yesterday. Because I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I love him. Of course I'm going to take care of him. But all of a sudden I was like, I don't know. I'm like, do I want to be in a relationship right now? Like, I'm like, this is like the best I've felt in years. I feel so good. And of course I want to be with him. But I was like, you know, and I know he's like, I've changed. But then we had a situation happen yesterday and we both kind of like went back to like this old programming, and I let it go and I let it go and I let it go. But then I let it fester like all day. And then something told me to, you know, go on Instagram, and I was going through like things like to post in my stories. I like to post messages in my stories. If you never look at my stories, if you're here and you're an Instagram person, you really should look at the stories because they're always so fun, and I get really creative. I get really artsy up there. It's super fun. It's like my outlet. But there was this one message and it was about setting boundaries, and then the next one was about like you know, kind of like, I want to be with you, but I have no problem fucking going my own way. And so I just, last night I reached out to Edward, you know, to say goodnight, and we started talking, and I just kind of spoke my piece and in a loving and kind and gentle way. And I just said, hey, you know, this and that, and, you know, we need to have better communication around that. I'm like, because that kind of threw me out of my orbit today. Drink some water, I heard. And I said I wasn't trying, you know, this to be this way or that way. I'm like, I just want you to know, I'm like, this has been really hard on me too. This has really been stressful for me too. And he resorted to some old programming, and it just, bam, I just went, nope. And I said, listen, you can come back here. I'm bringing the healing. He gave me this, the first crystal he ever gave me was this amethyst. So I'm going to bring it out for healing, and I'm going to bring this ametrine out, which is citrine and amethyst, which is healing, happy, and cleansing. But I just got straight up with him, and I said, I'm not going to do this. And he's like, fine, I don't have to come there. You don't have to take care of me. And I go, whoa. I go, you haven't changed at all. I'm like, wow. I go, I really thought you changed. I go, I guess you didn't. And then he said different languaging to me than he said before that was totally different. And I was like, and so I stopped and I listened. And then he said, you know what? I need to go be alone. I need to go sit with this for a little while. And I said, okay. So we hung up the phone and we kind of went to our own corners. And then I started to beat myself up because I'm like, okay, this fucking dude is in the hospital. You are an evil, selfish asshole. I was like, you could have talked to him about this when you got home. You could have. And then I just heard my spirit guides go, no, you couldn't. This had to happen this way. And as much as I didn't want to speak to him that way, at the same time, I was like, you're not, I was so uncomfortable. I was doing these things for him, and it was just like, I didn't want to do it. I told him I would do it next week. It didn't have to be done for another week. And I told him I just needed some time or whatever, but he pressed me, and I was like, okay, I need to do this for him. And it's because he allowed old programming to take him over, and then I allowed it because I was like, oh, he's hurt. Like, I'm not gonna be an asshole. Of course I'm gonna, be supportive. And then I realized, I'm like, nope. My boundary is that I cannot allow anyone to push me out of or into a situation or a place that makes me feel unsafe or uncomfortable. And it was like, he kind of got the message. And so I texted him after a little while. I texted him and I said, listen, I'm like, first and foremost, I love you. I want you here. I want to be with you. I'm like, but I am not the same person. I'm like, we have not really talked in months, and I have changed so much. And I said, and you have changed. I'm like, it's going to take us a while to get to know each other again. I'm like, but going back to old programming isn't good for either of us. And I said, so I'm sorry if I upset you. I go, I know you're in the hospital. And I just was straight up. I was just like, this is where we are, and, do your thing. And then I was looking for something else on Instagram, and I ended up finding these things that were like perfect, and I would send him things as I found them, and I could tell he was reading them. And then this morning I woke up and there was this long, beautiful message, "Good morning, baby." And it was so awesome. And he was like, he heard me, and it was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, again, get my smelling salts. Like after 5 fucking years, it's like, if you ever watch Sex and the City, in the movie, have you ever seen the Sex and the City movie where she announces that, Carrie announces that to Charlotte and Miranda in the restaurant that her and Big are getting married? And Charlotte stands up and then she's like, oh my God. She's like, I'm sorry, everybody. And she like drops the entire fucking restaurant. She's like, I'm sorry, everybody. She's like, but my friend and her boyfriend are getting married. She goes, after 10 years. And when she shrieked, Miranda went, oh my God. She's like, and Carrie goes, oh my God. And Miranda goes, oh my God, I think she broke my eardrum, like whatever. And Carrie's like, I am mortified. And Charlotte's just so excited that Carrie's finally getting married, because Charlotte's the one that's like, does everything by the book and whatever. Anyway, it's just a really fucking great scene. But that's how I felt. It was that kind of moment where I felt like my friends and all my supporters who have been listening to me talk about me and Ed for years would have been like, oh my God, like I wanted to send it to all of my friends, the text, and be like, oh my God, miracles happened. He got it. He finally got it. It was fucking awesome. So, that is the message of hope. That's another message. Sorry. That's another message of hope, right? Oh shit, sorry. It's another message of hope. So don't give up. And if you need to, 1, 33, 32, what is that together? 5, 6, 11, 12. 12, pandatribe, 12. Right? So, like, that's intense, man. Like, it's like, they told me to leave those there for now. But yeah, so don't give up hope, like keep going with the flow, keep like staying in your grace, like knowing like that spirit has your back, right? Like, that we are all souls, we are all connected, we are divinely connected. What's on the bottom again? Life is meant to be enjoyed. That is the message for real, right? Like, is it just me, or does she look really, did you guys see that? Look how different it looks there. She almost looked fuzzy back here. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe if I watch it back, I'll see what I meant, but anyway. Don't give up hope, because it's usually when we give up hope is when people surprise us. So don't give up hope. However, sometimes we have to say to people, man, I love you, but you got to go, because I got to flow, and I can't deal with your mojo, right? Because she's your mojo. I can't deal with your mojo until people get their fucking shit straight. That doesn't make you a dick because you don't want to deal with someone else's fucking shit. Look at this, number 26, transform. Woo, the number 8. Now look at this. We've gone 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Remember we said that at the beginning. Look at that. Transform. Transform your life. This is how you transform your life. Like, I know Ed's never going to be the same. I saw it in him. I saw it in him. That's why when I heard it last night, I felt like it was like an arrow through my fucking heart. I was like, dude, have you learned nothing? I'm like, because I mean, and trust me, in the beginning of the conversation, he's in the hospital. I'm not a total, demon, right? So I'm like, listen, hey, I'm like, can I just like talk? Like I was trying to be cool about it, and I was just like, my feelings count, and I just want to blah blah blah, and he was like, okay, fine, you don't have to worry about it then. And I was like, well, it was like this, and I could hear like the child in him. And I'll tell you what, remember when I was saying there was still like a little bit of brown in his eye? I realized, I believe right now, I'm not going to tell his story. It's his story to tell, but what I feel right now, before I know the whole story, what I feel right now without being let in completely, which is okay, that's his right. And I should say, like, meaning like energy wise, like Ed and I can feel each other. That's why I knew when he was down and all that. But I'm saying, like, he doesn't want me to see certain things yet, and that's cool. But I feel like he banished the demons that have been ruling his life in the negative ways. But I feel like the energy I'm dealing with now is like the 17-year-old him, the 9-year-old him, the 6-year-old him, where he still has some things to work through. but he couldn't really get to them because these other motherfuckers were like ruling his life, right? These dark, 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 dark energies. And some of the energies weren't his and some of them he created. But that's the hard part, right? When we create our own demons and then we have to banish them ourselves. Nobody else can banish those demons but us. But there are some demons, like I've done clearings before for people and for homes where, you know, after I leave, like they feel it and they're like, oh my gosh, they're like, the whole house feels different, blah, blah, blah. And then after a short period of time, they're like, it went back to it. I think they're back. And I'm like, no, it's because I'll banish like the dark stuff, but if people have demons that they've created, until they actually like cut those cords with them, they may leave when I'm there because they know that they can't be there when I'm there, but then like they'll slowly creep back in because the people are bringing them back in, right? Because we do control certain demons, but well, we control all of them really, but I'm just saying, like, you know, the ones that we co-created. Drink some water. All right, let's get going. We got more to do. We got lots to do. I lost my readers. I don't know what I rearranged on the new moon. I cleaned my workspace. It looks amazing. It's so much more feng shui and like balance. Oh, it's lovely. But my readers went somewhere and I don't know where they went. Okay. Ooh, number 34, sex magic. Love it. Love it. Love it. What does it say? Love, sex, and magic. Yes. Bring the sex magic back into your relationship. Let go of forcing that which no longer serves you. I'm hearing that this is for some of you guys because you're in like a ho-hum, humdrum, like they're like, then spice it up. You be responsible for it. And if your partner is on a lull, sometimes people are on a lull sexually, like they're depressed sexually for a little while. That happens. So you know what? Then you start masturbating. You are in control of your own sexual body, right? I had to learn, I had to take back that power. I've never been afraid to masturbate. I was single for 7 years. Are you kidding? I mean, yes, I had my toys. Well, not my toys. That's horrible. They were human beings, but they knew who they were or what was happening. But I'm just saying, like, we agreed upon it. It was cool. But, you know, I had, you know, other human avatars to play with. But, you know, when I wanted to take care of myself, I took care of myself. It's like, it's not another person's responsibility to take care of our sexual needs. You know, so this one I feel like is multiple messages for a lot of us. So take from it what you need, leave behind what you don't. But it's 34, which is also the number 7. Look at that. We're like 2, 3, 4. We haven't had a full, well, yeah, we had a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We've basically, we haven't had a, yeah, we had a 1. No, that's 19. I was going to say, have we had a 1 yet? Or a 0? Let's see, any other messages right now? Ooh, molybdenite. Molybdenite. Oh, look at that. It looks like something from outer space. I feel like, I know we pulled this one before for the tribe, and I feel like that's exactly what it is. I feel like it's from outer space, if it's the one I'm thinking of. Let's see. I feel like something, here, I'll use my patchouli. I don't like to cover people, but, or cover the cards. We'll just leave it there for now. Okay. Book. This is going to be a long one, tribe. It's already almost 2 hours. What is it? I can't see. 140 or 149. It's one or the other. Whew, and I'm tired. This is the most I've done in a while. Okay. A message from the stars. Your life is always held in perfect equilibrium by the divine natural order that exists within all creation. Balance, equilibrium. Believing that you have somehow failed or made the wrong decision or choice is simply an illusion. There is nothing you need to change or fix in your life apart from your sometimes unbalanced perceptions. Remember that first card we had, the perception card? Where did it go? I think it fell on the floor. Remember that? We had the perception card. That's so crazy. Love it. From sometimes unbalanced perceptions, mainly your self-criticism, right? With the judging yourself with what you're eating and all that. Or maybe it's not just what you're feeding. Maybe it's not just food. Maybe it's what you're feeding yourself, your soul. Maybe it's too much, you know, social media. Maybe it's too, also if you're like watching anything and you're feeling things like greed or, you know, whatever it is, or envy or things like that, like that's just energy. Feel it and let go of it. You know, Is it positive? No, but maybe sometimes we're in a lull or we're feeling kind of bad. You just don't want to covet somebody else's joy, right? Like it's our own responsibility to create our own happiness. Know that you are always worthy of love and you are eternally blessed. Start to accept all of who you are as you are, and you will see your life magically and lovingly transform. All is in perfect divine order. From a spiritual perspective, there are no mistakes in life. Every experience is a lesson in love and wisdom. And remember that first card we pulled was about love. Look at that. So I think we should, like, I'm going to think of Transformers. Anytime I see a Transformer or hear the word transform, or we even got, look at transformation, right? This image kind of reminds me of a transformer, like, because like this crystal can, like, you know, go into like maybe this crystal or something, right? Da, 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 da. It's like it can transform. There's just something about it, like a portal. Like, think of yourself like going through this portal and, you know, and transforming into who you want to be, not who people say you should be or what you should do, or, you know, like I get real tired of that kind of shit. I don't buy into that. I don't, that's not my way of thinking. I don't cater to that school because it doesn't, why? It's like you are you and no one is ever going to be you, and you're not meant to be anybody else or like anybody else, a parent, a family, from you know, whatever. You are who you are. I heard this really great thing yesterday that said, the one guy was asking his buddy for advice, and he said, well, what do you think I should do, like, that so I can change, you know, for her to, like, you know, really, like, you know, like me and stuff like that. And he goes, well, I think the only part of that you should change is the way you think about it. And he's like, that's her perception. She needs to change because she wants you to be somebody or not. She needs to change her perception. If she doesn't like you for who you are, then she doesn't like you. And it was like, he said it's way more eloquently, and you just saw the guy kind of stop, and he was like, wow, that's really profound, man. He's like right, he goes, so she just needs to change her thinking, because she's, even for her, she's not a bad person, but she's like stuck in this like world. She was in a world where, you know, she had money and rich people, and she always had to care about what people thought. This is the way she was raised, and then she married into that, and then like she doesn't know any better, and she doesn't mean to judge him. She thinks she's helping him, but she's not. FYI, I've done that too. We've all done that, right? So they're saying no. 27, Greenwood. Ooh, the awakening. 27, which is also the number 9. Oh, 9. Now we officially have a 9. 9, 10. Because it was 1 and 9 is 19, but oh my gosh. So Greenwood, we're going to read this one. I don't like to cover things, but maybe we can do this way. Like, we see her there. I don't want her to fall. Oop. She's like, bye-bye. I guess we don't need them. You're right. We don't. There's other cards. Okay. It's like, I kind of feel like that told that story too. Plus, because I'm like, ooh, Greenwood. I don't know this card. I mean, obviously, you know, the awakening, if I wasn't going to read the book, but I'm feeling really strongly. This is my patchouli water. I like to spritz. So let's see what the Greenwood has to say. Greenwood. Oh, he wants to be by the fire, he says. The Greenwood. Ooh, I love this. I love new cards. 27. I don't think we've read this one. If we have, I don't remember. Greenwood, the awakening. Oh, it's the calendula. Oh, I have a calendula. Beautiful. Just so you know, with these unicorn, the oracle unicorn of the oracle cards, they just had me. All of them have a plant or something that they represent, but they didn't have me talk about that at all. This is the first one that they're having me do this. So, and they're having me read the book, but that's what the flower or whatever they have on the card is like. Or if you saw something, you're like, oh, that looked like blah, blah, blah. It was. Okay, another name for this gorgeously sunny yellow field flower is the English marigold, which comes from Mary's gold, referring to the golden crown of the Virgin Mary. In ancient times, crowns of marigolds were worn by revelers at parties and celebrations. Medicinally, the calendula flower is soothing, fresh, and healing, and a fantastic cure-all. On a metaphysical level, calendula brings hope after times of sadness and sorrow. Oh, I love it. And can I tell you something? Since I've had plants for like the last 5 years or whatever, some of my plants I kept outside because I thought they were going to be fine out there. But long story short, they all tried to survive, and one by one they all died off, but only one of them survived from the original batch, and that was my calendula. And she's out there right now, and she's got, I don't know, 5 or I don't even know, I can't see her from here, but she's got big yellow bulb, you know, not bulbs, but yeah, right? Like just beautiful, 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 beautiful. So I think it's really interesting that lately I've been talking to her. I talk to her all the time. Goldie is her name. I know it's silly, but that's what I called her. That's why I'm like, I just bring all this up because I'm like, that's so crazy right now. Mary's Gold. I call her Goldie. Ask Ed. I've called her Goldie since I've had her. And I've had her since she was little. Now she's in a really big pot and everything. She needs to be replanted again. But she stuck it out. She fucking stuck it out through like winters and things like that. Because like when she was getting bigger, I couldn't bring her in. And I was like, she's going to die. She's going to die. I always try to bring her in at night, like if it was going to freeze and stuff. And I'd try and keep her in the, you know, after the rest of them died, I was like, I can't let Goldie die. It was like this, like I was fighting for her life. So it's so interesting that it's called Mary's Gold. And that like, even if I read this card before, it's like, it doesn't hit me now. It's like, it's hitting me. Every time I've walked by her lately, I will kiss the yellow flower and I would just like hug her and I'm like, I love you, Goldie. I'm like, you look so pretty, you know. Oh, actually that's right, I moved her out over there, but I still can't see her. I moved her out because it rained yesterday and I was like, oh, she can get some rain. Anyway, I just thought you might enjoy that story, especially when they said brings hope after times of sadness and sorrow. And this is our message of hope after times of, you know, what just happened with Edward and just like, you know, with everything that we're going through right now. It's like Spirit wants us to like hang on for hope. This isn't just about me, but I'm just, you know. So this unicorn heralds a reawakening. The spark of joyfulness is about to return to life after a long period of hibernation. And again, a lot of us, like, right, like we're realizing, I know for some people, they're like, I actually really like teaching my kids at home and we're working things out with like our neighbors and like people are having like a different experience than I think they thought that they were going to have, and they're really enjoying it. I don't know why, but that shadow was driving me crazy. So I just think it's really, really interesting. This card resonates with the summer solstice, Litha, a time of positive change and a returning of the light. If life has been cold, dull, and monotonous, Greenwood proclaims a fresh new start. Your heart will start to open. I know, I was thinking it too with Ed and I. You guys are so cute. Your heart will start to open up after feeling lonely and asleep. This is a rebirth through delight and pleasure. Meeting new people who bring your life joy is strongly indicated. The energy that surrounds this card is one of enchanted forests, woodland mysteries, and the legend of the green man and the fairy folk, of course. That's why my owl feather wanted to come in today. Greenwood foretells of joyful gatherings under lanterns and fairy lights, garden parties, frolicking and merriment. The carnival-like atmosphere of the Shakespeare play, A Midsummer Night's Dream, is a good comparison for the energy of this card. So start celebrating, right? We're in the last month of summer. You know, each season has, ooh, did you see that? Did you see how that, I was like, that was crazy. Each season has 3 cycles. Well, it's fairies, that's why. Each season has 3 cycles, just like there's 4 seasons, right? But we have a month through each cycle. So it's like the first cycle of the season, it's like we're just coming off the other season, we're kind of like getting into it, and then like the middle month is like the cycle of like we're in it, right? And now today, as I'm doing this, happy birthday, Jules. It's August 22nd. It's one of our tribe members. There may be other, if it's your birthday, put it below, but today is Jules' birthday, one of our beautiful sister hearts in our tribe. Happy birthday, Jules. But today is the 22nd, so we are right, you know, end of the Leo energy, going into the Virgo energy, and we are also in the last month of summer because fall will be here in 4 weeks, which is so exciting. I cannot wait. And for most of us on this channel, we are witches, healers, we are, you know, earth-bound angels, archangels. We are here as light workers, starseeds, warriors, spirit warriors. You know, so to us, fall's a very special time to us. We really understand and appreciate the harvest, don't we? Like we really, really understand what that means. So I know for myself, the last month of summer, I think it's really powerful that they just said that about the cycle. So they always have like one little little quip, right, called unicorn magic. And in this one it says, a celebration is needed and you have the power to create some happiness and fun. The Greenwood Unicorn encourages you to host a gathering with your nearest and dearest just because. Be sure to decorate with plenty of light. Fairy lights, lanterns, and candles will bring the beautiful light of treasured friendships into focus. Embellish with greenery, garlands, flower crowns, and delicious food and drink. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys, I am putting this out there that whenever it's in all of our greatest and highest good, when Ed is well enough to do so, when it is time for all of us to come together, if you are in the Northwest, I would love for you to come to a gathering, because I definitely want to do something powerful this, coming up. So it'll either be on fall equinox, or it will be, is it equinox? All of a sudden I was just like, that sounded weird to me. Or maybe Samhain, which is like the, Halloween, but it's, the witches' New Year. It's our, huge celebration of bringing in the harvest. It's a pagan holiday. So somewhere in there, I would love to host something, and also to celebrate that Ed is alive and that we're all alive, right? So that's exciting. Wow, you guys, how powerful. Did I read the whole thing? I was so excited. Yes. So, and we could do like a fun potluck where everybody can, bring stuff that they made, or you can bring it from like, all I would ask is that it's like organic, or comes from like a natural baker or something like that. I don't care if you buy it, but so it, good vibrations. Number 1, what did I say? I go, are we going to pull a 1? Invention. We have gone the gamut now. Invention, time to reinvent ourselves. Invention, invention, invention. And it says brilliant new ideas. Yes, you guys. Let's see, what does this one say? And they always say like the plant name of it, and they also have sigils on there. These cards are really cool. I just knew this was getting really long, so I didn't want to like read every single thing in the book. But yeah, time to invent yourself, reinvent yourself. Like, who are you? Who am I? Remember in Zoolander, he looks in his reflection and he's like, who am I? And then he looks back at him and he goes, I don't know. It's like, right? You don't know until we like get into it, till we get to the nitty gritty of it. I'm hearing it's time to, we're going to pull 2 here, and then I dropped some cards on the floor, so we'll have to pick those up. They're having me pull these at the same time. Very interesting. Diana and the Black Madonna. Wow. I've seen these cards, but I'm pretty sure I haven't. This one I don't even think I've ever seen, and I'm like, how is that possible? But sometimes I think I see cards and then I don't, and then it's really cool, because then when I see them, it's like a gift for me too. Wow. Okay, so we pulled this one first. The Black Madonna, Our Lady of the Hermits. I transform pain and suffering into a greater capacity to love. And look at her there with that heart on her chest. Look at that with the baby. She's a warrior. She's got a baby in her arm. She's a goddess. She's a queen. She's like the divine feminine, man, right? And it's interesting to me, because I'm like, the Black Madonna, because to me it's like, I don't see color. But I respect this deck, and I respect that, that this is how they feel, who made the deck, or how they see it. So, so I honor it no matter what it is. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't, but I do honor and appreciate the imagery, and the beauty of it is unbelievable. I mean, I think this may be my new favorite card. The thing I love about it is, like, she looks Ethiopian. Like, she looks bald. Like, when you look closer, I thought that was her hair, but she looks bald. When I was living in Los Angeles, one of my friends, Maki, she was Ethiopian, and she was a model. My gosh, she was so beautiful. She was a model who, like, waited tables, like, when she, wasn't working, kind of thing. And then I found out later that actually she, her family was, like, really, really, really rich. But her and her brother Solomon, I love them. They were amazing. I became friends with them. I met them through this restaurant I worked. Actually, my friend Nancy met Solomon. I don't remember if she met McKee, but that's how I met Nancy, was through Solomon. Isn't that so crazy? One of my best friends in the whole world, Nancy, she lives in Belgium, and we met. She was on vacation in LA, and I was working at a restaurant in Beverly Hills, in the Holiday Inn Select, where she was staying. And he and I were working together, and he said, hey, told me her story was a really amazing story too. Like, she had planned like for a really long time with her friend to come to LA, and I think for like 2 years they planned it or something, and saved up for it and everything, booked it, had it all ready to go, and her friend got like mono or like something really bad like that. She got really sick, pneumonia or something, and she couldn't go, but she pushed Nancy to go by herself, and Nancy came all the way to America at like 22 years old. That's a really powerful thing to do, looking back on it now, for sure. And so anyway, Solomon said, hey, he's like, there's this other, because he thought I was a warrior because I moved to LA at 23. I think I'd only been there like a month when I met her. And so long story short, he was like, well, you're new here and she is no one. He's like, maybe you guys, and she's like, I don't speak very good English. Anyway, the funny thing is her English got better over the years, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer was something we had in common. We both were into, or she was really into the X-Files, but she actually got me more into it. But anyway, but all I'm trying to say is like, it's just interesting, like how people can connect us, right? Like even now, ooh, how weird. Oh, look, it stopped. Bing, bing, bing. Let's see if it goes back. That's so weird. I'm just going to wait till it goes back anyway. But what I wanted to say was, what's so cool about this is that like, it just goes to show like how the imagery, how this card, every time I look at cards, my own cards, I see different imagery in them. But when I saw this, I saw Ethiopian, I saw McKee, and then I saw Solomon, and then that brought me to that story. But that just goes to show you like how you meet people. I'm still friends with Nancy to this day. You know what I mean? And I mean, we're 48 years old, right? Like, it's just like, but how somebody who I had just met working with, and like, and his family is from, Ethiopia, but they lived in Beverly Hills too. But anyway, I just love that divine connection and all that. And also that this says, I transform pain and suffering into a greater capacity to love, right? And this is for all of us right now. For all of us to transform our pain and suffering into love. Even with that story, it's like with her visit, it's like she could have stayed at home and been really bummed, whatever, but she transformed it. I was like, nope, I'm going, man. And she just went on a wink and a prayer. Oh, shoot, hold on, you guys. We're going to get to Diana in a minute. Spirit told me to have the charger ready, so I knew to have it ready. I just have to hook it up. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Okay. We all right? We got it? Okay. Okay. That good? Okay. All right. But right, like, look at how people connect each other. Look how we connect each other. Here were 3 completely different continents, right? We've got Africa, we've got Europe, and, the United States, or I should say the, you know what I'm talking about, right? But somehow, if she didn't go on that trip, I wouldn't have met her. I wouldn't have, and the whole time that she was in town, she, was like, hey, I'll give you gas money if you want to drive me around. And she's like, I want to go do this. We hit 2 hours. Awesome. Ooh, it was like 2 hours and 20 seconds, 2 again. Right. But like, that was like a whole experience in itself that like, and with her limited English, but my being animated and being myself, like we just like became friends, and we didn't let the language be our barrier. It's like we were introduced by, it's just like, that's the kind of stuff that I want you guys to start understanding, like the magic that's everywhere all the time, right? Okay, so let's keep our brilliant ideas, and let's keep our beautiful Black Madonna, Our Lady of the Hermits, and also the Lady of our Hermits, right? So you got to get out of your comfort zone so that you can, find these connections and find these people. Sometimes you guys will say to me, well, I don't have anybody. I don't know anybody. See what I mean? Like, I was meant to even explain that story to you guys so that you realize, like, sometimes, like, it's an outer force. We need outer forces, like, to bring us together. I mean, I could tell you story after story about, like, my connections that way, but it's always because I asked, or because, I took a chance, I took a risk, and we have to do that, right? With love in our hearts, unconditional love, and don't be afraid of rejection. Don't be afraid to, like, put yourself out there and say, hey, I'm looking for a group, or, I've been talking about this. I'm going to start teaching soon. I'm going to start having, it's going to be private groups. And so like you can reach out to the people in the group. Okay, so Diana, Queen of the Wilderness. I love it. The language of the natural world is a frequency of love. This is my mother tongue. Yes. Look at her. And you know, I'm all Sag. You guys know I'm all Sag except for my moon's in Scorpio. So to me, I'm like, that's the archer, Diana. That's my girl. That's my girl. She's my rep. I love that moon behind her. And look at that powerful, like her crown chakra is lit. So, you know, work with your crown chakra and getting your chakras balanced. I heard that right out the gate. Look at that, Diana. Whew. She's a badass. All right, so we've got a group down here. I'll be right back. I should have got these when I was down here. Hold on. I'm going to check in with Spirit because I just heard multiple things at once and there's a lot of people talking to me. So I'm going to find out first. Wow, this is a really long reading. So I don't know if Spirit's going to break this up or not because I'm like, man, this is already at 2 hours. Or maybe you guys are just going to have to eat it, you know, or eat it, take it bits and, you know, watch bits and pieces or you're just going to be a badass and watch it all the way through. I'll definitely put like the timestamp for the reading just because some people might not want to hear the story about what happened with Edward. I just figured for those of you who, you know me or like you've been following me or you subscribe to this channel and you know, some of you, we're new friends, right? Like we've never met, but we know each other or we talk to each other. There's so many of you. Thank you so much. And thank you guys so much for supporting and liking and subscribing. When you subscribe, it just means like I'll be in like your notifications kind of thing. So when I, you know, put up a new reading or a new show or whatever, it's like you'll get informed of it. So that's what the subscription is. And actually I think you can, or no, you know what, you can subscribe and then there's a bell thing on the side where you can either click the bell so that you will get informed when I get things or you won't. It's something like that. Whatever feels good to you, you know, whatever feels good to you. Okay, what's our next message? Okay. Bury me. Number 9, berry. Like a fruit berry, get it? Number 9, how cute. Take some time for yourself. Yes, bury me. Like marry me, but like marrying yourself, like taking some time to yourself. A lot of you know I've spoke about this before, but one of my dearest friends, she's my sister in heart. And well, we have been many lifetimes together, but Vivian, she had a beautiful wedding and she married herself. And honestly, it changed her life. There are a lot of people who've married themselves and I think it's really beautiful. So even if you just have a little wedding by yourself, you know, or look up, you know, people doing that. Some people like have a full on wedding, like with a cake and the whole thing. And they're like, they, you know, vow to like love themselves and to the death of it. It's really beautiful. And I think it's just like a really cool proclamation, self-affirmation saying like that I'm, you know, saying like me, I am presence, like I am worth it. Like this journey is mine and I love myself. I am worth it. The whole purpose of this life is for us. It's our journey. You know, we've just been programmed to believe like we should do this and we should do that and all these things. But, you know, it's our video game, right? We're all here doing our own thing and how we play it is up to us. It's nobody else's business. So take some time for yourself, right? What was this one? Wasn't this one like that? Brilliant new ideas. Oh, you know what? It was from the first batch. It was from the first batch. Okay. So, bury me. How cute. It also could be like, you know, like bury you, like bury you in love, you know, like bury your essence and your body in love. Like bury it, you know what I mean? You hear what I'm saying? I feel like this one wants to be up here. You get it. You get the gist. Okay. I think we're going here first. Okay. Yay! This is the one I wanted to put out first, but it wasn't time yet. Number 3, the Starborn. Okay, you guys. So, in the Wild Unknown Archetype deck, there are 78 cards and there are 78 different archetypes, and I've been studying and it is just such an amazing experience. If you want to do something really nice for yourself, I think I got it when I got it. I think I got it for like $25. on Amazon, and it was free shipping. It was worth every penny. The book alone is like, I mean, it's the cards, like the descriptions of the cards don't even start until there. Like, that's how much of the book where she discusses the archetypes and why, like, it's fucking fascinating. So this is the Starborn archetype, and I'm feeling like this one wants a little bit of a show. So I'm going to do this. Bring it closer. This, you said? Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. The Starborn. Oh. Okay. They're saying there's a little nook for it there. I didn't hear it. I thought they said something else. Okay. There is. There's like a little. Did you see the worm things? I'll show it later. But there's like worm marks in this piece of bark. Anyway, that's how it's holding it. The Starborn. Okay. Drink some water. Fuck me. I'm tired. Whew. It's okay. After this, I have nothing to do. I had nothing to do anyway. I just felt like I needed to do a little spirit work. Oh, look at how the light's hitting me. Oh, that's so fun. Okay, hold on. Okay, so here it is, the Starborn. The divine child, the star child, the destined, an elusive yet radiant aspect of the self. The Starborn archetype points to the cosmic spark of light that arrives with each being at birth. The moment the newborn crowns, whether vaginally or surgically, the royal stars above are said to constellate in a unique shape that maps our path in the world. The idea of destiny is controversial, yet the Starborn naturally feels a sense of destination and purpose, aiming itself toward a future that is beyond the mundane. When this card appears, travel back to your birth story for clues and insight. What did you desire when you were young? Practice seeing your life from a mythic point of view rather than as a series of logistics. Read the story of the three fates and envision yourself born under the stars with a unique destiny. Yes. When I started working at Psychic Sister, and I was dealing with all different people from all different ages. Oh my gosh, I'm like, I feel like I look like a pirate now. It's kind of weird. I'm like, I needed to move that a little. I was like, that was a little freaking me out a little bit. I'm like, you don't need to see me that much. My very first person that came to sit down with me at Psychic Sister, my very first client was an 87-year-old man who was a retired farmer who was wearing a baseball cap. And I was like, oh my, I've never read for anybody like over, I think at that point, maybe the age of 65. I don't remember my friend's parents, but I had read for my friend's parents, and that point was like, you know, that was the top of the age range that I had read for. So this was like quite something, because to me that's like an elder. Like, what do I have to say to this person? You know what I mean? Like, but it was life-changing because I was struggling and I couldn't get the connection. This is before I used divination cards. I was just a straight up medium. So I was just sitting there and I said, what brought you here today? And we just started talking, and he was like, I don't know, I know it sounds, you know, whatever. He's like, but I always kind of believed in this stuff. He's like, I'm not getting any older. And he's like, I've just been, a lot of weird things have been happening to me. And so I was like, well, tell me about it. And then all of a sudden Spirit said, ask him what he wanted to be when he was 8. And he wanted to be a magician. And so we ended up having this amazing conversation. All this stuff came through. They were showing me pictures and imagery from his childhood. He was like crying because he was just like, you know, you could tell he was like, wow. He's like, I wasn't sure what to believe or whatever. He's like, you're the real deal. And he's like, this is real. And I was like, yeah. I go, well, it takes two. I'm like, you're as powerful as I am, you know. And he was like this old wise wizard, right? But he was just raised a certain way, and he just like lived that way. And he was a farmer, and he just, you know, went to church on Sundays and did like what he was told to do and like whatever. So it was a really profound experience. So that became like kind of the lineage or whatever. That was kind of like how I gauged when people were struggling or didn't, when I would read for people over the phone, in person, didn't matter. But after that, it's like I started to say, What did you want to be when you were 8? Because I started to understand that 8 is such a really great age, you know. It's where you're wise enough to, like, you know, if something happened, you would, most 8-year-olds are, especially now, are real savvy, right? Like, they'll, you know, they have the forthwit to, like, know, like, to call 911 or whatever. But they're still in that, like, magical phase where they, you know, they believe in magic and mystery and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, if you're struggling with not knowing what your gifts are or what you want to do, try to go back to that time period. You know, even if it's asking your parents or, you know, trying to get people to jog your memory about that time period. What was it about that time period? Who were you? You know, what did you believe in? It's really important. So they had me say that. So this one is saying when you're in alignment with the starborn archetype, that means that you feel a light, you're trusting, you're vibrant, and you're aimed at your goal, right? But if you're feeling a little like down or depressed, or maybe you're going through your dark stuff right now, then you're feeling misalignment and loss of longing. And loss of longing is dangerous for our spirit, right? Because we need to have a longing for something, because that's what hope is, right? This is all about the message of hope, and hope, that's what longing is. It's hope. It's hoping, you know. So when you start to lose that longing, it's like spirit's like, no, come back to like what makes you happy, what makes you laugh, what gives you joy. On one side it says, when this card appears, don't be surprised if you receive a surge of desire for a long lost dream, one you haven't visited since childhood. Let this desire shake you up. Yes, because, you know, maybe it was something that you like to, you know, play with, whatever, and then like try and, like, spirit saying whatever it is to you, bring it into like the adult version. 21307, that, which is the number 13, woo, right? So like bring that into your adult life, or like where you are now, because however old you are when you're watching this, right? But like bring this into like where you are now. Like if that's something you're like, well, I don't know if I would do that because I was, and it's like they're like, okay, like maybe don't get so literal, you know, maybe it's something like that, right? So like if you thought you could heal with your hands, well, you probably are. You're probably a natural Reiki, right? So it's like start looking into that. Also, it says have your chart read, study your constellated shape, ask questions. What does the process conjure in you? Faith or mistrust? What would happen if you saw the galaxy as your ally? I don't know if you can get a screenshot because it's kind of small, but try and get a screenshot if you can. Oh, I like that a lot. Where it says, what would happen if you saw the galaxy as your ally? Yeah, right, because we've been like programmed to believe like, aliens, no, they're going to kill us. Well, yeah, I'm sure there are other species and whatever that would probably like us dead or want us, you know, whatever. They're here now. I'm like, I just heard they're here now. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to, hold on. I'm picking things up with my feet. I saw something recently that said Beyonce was really good at picking things up with her, or no, Kim Kardashian, and I laughed and I was like, I'm like that too. I feel like they're just my hands on the ground, right? So, you know, like sinking into like who you are, the starborn, like we're starseeds, right? Here's that perception card again. It's all in the way you look at it. It's all in the way you look at it, right? It's like, I love that because that's exactly what that means to me. It's like we're starseeds. We are fucking starseeds. Okay, Spirit, there's so many cards. Oh, Malachite's calling to me, and so is this one. I'm like, I saw that right away. Malachite. It's green. If you have some, do I have Malachite handy? I think I tend to give things away a lot if somebody really needs it and they don't have access to a crystal store. But Malachite's one I try to keep on me. So let's hear what Malachite has to say. Malachite. This is a longie but a goodie. Plus Spirit just said I haven't done a reading in a while, and the truth is I don't know when I'll do another one because I have a lot coming, you know, up, and, you know, but when Ed comes home I'm going to have to, you know, care for him and stuff, so who knows how, maybe I'll have a lot of energy and I will, I don't know, I guess we'll see. Anyway, Malachite, healing, change, insight, loyalty, and patience. The predominant quality of this Malachite crystal is support and healing. This is a time of positive change. You will soon let go of past regret and guilt, and this will pave the way to a positive, inspiring future. Guilt and regret stem from a misconceived belief that you could have acted differently in the past. And if you had done so, things would have turned out better, either for you or for others. Yet the universal law is such that it is impossible for you or others to ever lose anything without gaining an equal amount in return. Life is always held in perfect equilibrium. You are currently failing to see the positive effects of your past actions, choices, and decisions. Look carefully and you will realize that many positives exist and that life is forever changing and unfolding in accordance to the higher will of your soul. There are no mistakes, for ultimately all serves a purpose. All is designed to help us expand our awareness in order that we can embrace greater spheres of wisdom and love. Bless the past and let it go. Yes. And I love it they're saying all. Remember, we got the All Souls card. And I did this reading earlier online for myself that was talking about that. That was like for this week, like to just let the past go. Like it's over. And I feel like that too, right? Like whatever happened until this moment, it doesn't matter. It's like Ed is alive. He's out of the hospital. Well, he's not out of the hospital. Oh, yes, blessed be. I can't wait. That means he's coming out soon. Yay, thank you, Spirit. He'll be out of the hospital soon and he'll be home, right? You know, and then it's like everything, I know everything will fall into place. It's like, you know, that's the patience part I know for myself for sure. But, right, we have to let the past go. Same for you guys. Like, let things go. Start clean slates. Like, you know, this is the time for us to like stand our ground and say like, hey, I love you. Like, see, like with him, I said in the, you know, in the beginning, like I had to push back a little bit, but then it was like we found our footing. Drink some water. Know that everything you have ever said or done or think you have failed to say or do has served a positive purpose for you and others. So here is an affirmation to help us through that. There is no right or wrong choice. Every choice I make is perfect at that time, for it leads to an outcome which is necessary for me to grow in love and wisdom. And if you could take a screenshot. Okay. Yes, healing. Yes, malachite. I guess I need to get some malachite for Ed. That'd be really helpful. Okay. Woo-hoo. Let's see what our other messages. Oh, Sappho, the poetess. I love every inch of my body and I love the women in my life fiercely. Yes, we talked about this last time. And look at, she's playing the harp, but it almost kind of looks like Diana, right? It's like all these goddesses. It's like Wonder Woman. I feel like we're like on Wonder Woman Island, you know, it's like all the goddesses. It's like, yeah, like speak your truth too. You know, for some of you, the poetess is telling you like to write it out, like write out your feelings. You know, maybe you're somebody who you want to speak to somebody, but you don't know how to say it. Write it out first. And you can even say, I wrote it down. Because, you know, most people, if you write something down, are gonna, I would be like, oh, thank you. Like the fact that you took the time to like write it down because it meant so much to you that you wanted to make sure that you said the right words. That's very special. If someone is like, you had to write it down, right there, that's your red flag that they are not somebody who should be in your orbit. Because yes, sometimes we need to write shit down. So don't let anybody push you, right? Like you do what you need to do and you love yourself and you love the women in your life fiercely. Reach out to your tribe. For some of you, I feel like this is like, you know, you have a lot of women in your family. Like I feel like a blood and bone family that you can reach out to. Do that. I'm also feeling like a really strong dad vibe with that, which is interesting because it's goddess. But I feel like some of you, it's like your dad. Like maybe it's your dad who's the one that's like really open and like listens to you. They're saying that that's okay because that's your dad having badass divine feminine energy and being really balanced. Then reach out to your dad or a male energy. It doesn't have to be your dad. I just heard dad. It felt like a dad energy. Okay. So yeah, love it. Ooh, tiger iron. Oh, and we had her already, but she wanted to come back. Teresa Babilla. She's the one that fell earlier. Our Lady of the Interior Life. I trust the answers I find within me. I know that the presence of love is real. I almost feel like we're doing piles. So, because they just told me to take these away and to start with the tiger iron on the next group. So obviously stay here. You know, you are more than welcome to stay here because we still haven't even like pulled any of these yet. So that's kind of interesting to me. So maybe this is, I think we're doing a pick a pile without realizing we're doing a pick a pile. I guess we'll see, or maybe it's moving on to one. You know, I never question, I just do as I'm told. Let me just check my phone and make sure Ed's okay. Okay. Just have to keep looking. You know, he's my babe. He's my baby, and I got to make sure he's okay. Hold on. I dropped some cards. I could pick them up with my feet, but there's so many that it's faster if I just do it this way. Okay, so with this group, we, or I guess it's our group, but if it ends up being that, I'll commune with spirit later. I'm getting a lot of mixed messages, so I guess we'll see. But tiger iron, tiger iron, tiger iron, tiger iron. Ooh, that was weird. So some just fell in groups, and I think that's what's happening. So there we go. Tiger iron. Well, I guess you can't really see the word anyway. I used to have a tiger iron ring. I was reading for somebody, and Spirit told me to take it off my hand and give it to her. She was so in shock. It was awesome. I was like, that's the way it rolls, man. I'm like, we just all like help each other when we need it. I'm like, it's meant for you. And then I ended up getting new rings on the same trip. Isn't that crazy how that works? Anyway, tiger iron, also known as jasper, hematite, and tiger eye. Mental clarity, grounding, assertiveness, vitality, and sexual energy. The peace and mental clarity you seek can only be found by grounding your abstract spiritual ideas and concepts into your everyday physical life. That is, to bring things back to basics and honor the fact that you have been blessed with this physical life. Realize that while you are highly spiritual in nature, it is no mistake that you are here. As has been so eloquently said by several of our world's great teachers, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and as such, you are being urged to honor your humanity. This tiger iron crystal will help ground you and revitalize your sexual energy. Both these qualities are needed in order to be an effective force on earth and to live a fulfilling and inspired life. Remember, spirit is not in the clouds. It is here, right in the thick of things, that the beauty, majesty, and power of spirit are experienced. You do not have to run away from the You do not have to run away from the world in order to find peace. For the true peace you seek is inside you. The true spiritual master is one who is able to find peace even in the midst of turmoil. The affirmation is, I may not have the power to change the world, but I have the power to change my perception of it. Oh my gosh, and we pulled the perception cards at the beginning. If you can get a screenshot, go ahead and do that so you can have that affirmation. I know it's not the best camera, but... Right? I remember I did this one download with these shamans, and all of these ancestors came in while I was traveling, and they had me do this meditation in New York in Times Square. Or excuse me, no, it was New York. It was a subway station. It was an underground subway station during rush hour. And I had to like stay in like my peace, in my peaceful, like, and not letting anything bother me or like whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, they made it so real. I swear to God, I felt like I was in New York. It was insane. I mean, I felt like I was really there. It was so fucking real. When I came out of it, my friend was like, where were you? I was like, dude, I was in New York. Well, I was in a lot of places, but it was really intense. Right? So that's what they're trying to say, like to be able to find that inner peace no matter where you are. On Wednesday, when I was at the hospital with Edward, I mean, it was like, there were moments where I was like, I felt like people were pressing on my chest. Like I can feel like energy. I felt death energy. I felt souls that were trapped there. It was crazy. It's a trauma hospital. I was there for 7 hours, especially while I'm sitting with my partner who's in trauma, right? So the whole thing was just super, super duper like intense, and just fighting off the energy from like people, and it was just crazy. But even though I like prepared myself and had crystals and stones and brought stuff for Ed and left him at the hospital and all that, it was like, it's still energy is energy, and traumatic energy is like, that's something else. Anyway, so I'm gonna see if spirit, are we kind of breaking these up into little groups a little bit? Okay. Is this group for that one? Is this group for this card? All of them? Or just do it? Oh, okay, I hear what you're saying. They're saying just do it, it'll figure itself out. Okay. Oh, look at that. Did you see that? I was like, I was trying to push it back in and it kept pushing itself back out. Ooh, Parvati. Parvati? The goddess of devotion. I am a love that doesn't leave. When I commit to love, my soul evolves. Wow, look at that. And I think it's interesting with the sexual energy. I want to see if I can get the sun on there. Get her like sparkling a little bit. You know, I've been feeling a lot of self-love in these, but this one also, I am love that doesn't leave. When I commit to love, my soul evolves. I feel like this is for some of you, like maybe you have like 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door, right? And so they're saying like commit to it. Whether it's committing to just going on your own and loving yourself and just like going for it, or like committing to like this relationship or recommitting to the relationship. Like I know that's what I'm doing, right? Like recommitting to that love and saying like, okay, let's try a different tact. Let's take it from a different way, right? Right? It's all about devotion. So whether it's devotion to self, which of course devotion to self is important too, right? So whether it's devotion of self or if it's devotion for the person, you know, and you already have that devotion to yourself, but now you want to devote it to another person. And I'm hearing, you know, I know that this was about sexual energy, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, again, excuse me, multiple people. I almost feel like this could be, even the colors are similar. Look at that. Right? Like with the gold and the red. Red's a really powerful, look up like red and gold. And this is like red, gold. Like it said, it's like jasper, hematite, tiger iron. But black, gold, and red are like 3 really powerful colors for protection. So that kind of doesn't surprise me that they came together like that. Okay, we're getting into the home stretch here. Okay, oh, the Merlin! The messages of Avalon. Alchemy, justice, balance, number 1, right? So starting over, a new beginning. So again, whether it's like, now I think this is interesting because Merlin's by their self. So this could be, you know, and this could be you and you know what I mean? Like this could be you and it's like your divine feminine and your divine masculine, because they're, you know, putting Merlin as like, you know, we know of Merlin as a masculine energy. So it could be that, or it could just be that you need to go solo on your own, you know, or it could be that your person, like this is you and this is them, or vice versa, right? Because like I feel like this for me would be like Ed, right? Because like he's like a powerful magician and I'm like this loving, like trying to like, you know, I'm devoting and recommitting my love to this to help support him through his transformation, like through his magic, right? So don't deny yourself your magician, whether it's inward towards yourself or another person or all of the above. I feel like this really has multiple meanings, this reading. And I'm hearing here, it's almost like the balance, right? Like Merlin's over here. And she's over there. It's like divine feminine, divine masculine. What other messages? What other messages of hope with this group, Spirit? Okay, right in a row. This one. Lala, the saint of spoken words. Every word I say becomes a prayer. I am the author of my own story. Yes. How do you want to show up for this relationship with yourself or with yourself and someone else? Like, you know, tell your story, be honest and be real. People grow apart and people change. You know, it's that old saying, if you set something free and it comes back to you, then it was yours all along. But if it doesn't, it was never meant to be. They were just there to teach you the lesson. So, you know, like, who are you in this scenario? I think it's interesting that in this, like, they told me to put it in the middle, and Lala is turning away from the magician. So I want to see what's more of this story. Lolita, the red goddess. I don't think some of these cards, I swear, I felt like I looked at every card, but I do not remember this card at all. Lolita, the red goddess. Playfulness is a spiritual power. Laughter leads me back to the light. Whoa, did you see that? That was awesome. And it was 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 3 seconds, which is 6-8. Oh, man, it's all about infinity, right? So playfulness is a spiritual power. Laughter leads me back to the light. Yes, laughter through tears is my favorite emotion. I had that with Wednesday, like, I was trying to keep it light the whole time I was there in the hospital with that. I was just trying so hard to keep it light, keep it light, keep it light, keep it light. And then like something happened where like, you know, the machine, whatever, and the people had to come in and I was like, like, you know, you hold your breath and you're like, and it was something like that. Actually, it happened a few times, but all of a sudden I was like, it's okay. And I was like, and I started to cry, and then I just went up to him, I'm like, don't leave me, okay? I'm like, don't leave me. I was like crying, and then he did something, and I started to laugh, and I'm like, laughter through tears is my favorite emotion. And then he laughed, because he always loves when I say that. And, you know, and it's like, laughter really does help. You know, it's like, when you see those situations in a movie or in a book or even with your family where something's really fucking serious, right? Like in Steel Magnolias, right? It's like, where it's like somebody's got to say something to break it up, because it's the person needs to get it out and people will take it in, but then it gets so intense that you're like, okay, we got to fucking break this up, right? So like use laughter if you need to like to get through this situation with yourself or with your significant other. I feel like I went from like talking about me and then like kind of reading for the tribe, and then I feel like somehow we like went into like a pick-a-pile reading. So this is going to be like probably 3 hours of awesomeness. That's all I know. Oh, Sekhmet, the Red Lady. Oh, I love this card. I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. Yes. Again, for some of you, if you follow me on Instagram, if you don't, it's the Pandatribe 12. If you want to be a part of it's a private group on there. You know, seek me out, friend request me or whatever, or request whatever, or follow, and if it's meant to be, you'll be in there, okay? So, and if you're not, don't take it personally. It just means like, whatever, it's okay. So, but it's really interesting because one of the last things I did was about anger, because I feel like I've been going through the 7 stages of death, right? Like, death came to my door on Saturday, you know, or at least it felt like it, you know, and he was at the verge. I mean, he was alive but to me, what I was experiencing, right, was like, holy shit. You know, I was like, we need to take you to the emergency room. And, you know, it's like, but it was like that moment where, what did it say? Oh, yeah. Where it's like, I just was on autopilot until like I saw him, and then I had to recuperate. And then yesterday was like the anger set in, where I was like, it was like the 7 stages of death, you know, and it was like, I was in that part where I was like angry, where I was kind of like, you know what, this is what happened, or how come this, or blah, blah, blah. And one of my friends was like, I'm so glad you're getting angry. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to like express your anger through something. We can't be all sunshine and rainbows and be like, okay, pray for him. It's like, no, it's like, I was fucking pissed and I needed to talk about it and I needed to get it out. And I was, you know, and frustrated. So it's like, even when we're going through something really difficult, it's like, it's okay to be angry for a minute, feel it, and then let it go. Just don't sit with the anger and don't spew it onto other people, right? It's like, don't bring your anger out into the world, you know, in that way. Isn't that a great card though? Ah, so sexy. And look, have you guys noticed how much the colors and how Merlin is like blue? It's like, this is all reds and golds. That's why I feel like for some of you, if it's not like for a couple reading or for like another person reading, if this is just about you, then I feel like that's what they're trying to say, because it's like red and blue, right? Almost like how we do the primary blue and red, boy and girl, like, but you know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes the imagery is there for a reason, but why they had Merlin like all the way off to the right, that's very interesting. They told me, just I looked down, they said whatever one's sticking out, and these 2 are sticking out. So ooh, Shekinah, the presence of the divine feminine. As the center of everything, there is light, and I am that light. Yes, yes, divine feminine. Let's see if I can get her in the, oh, the sun's not there yet, because there's sunrise. Well, you can see it, but look at that. Isn't she a badass? Oh, beautiful. She is the light. We are the light, the divine feminine. And what we were just saying, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. I feel because of the light, and she is the light, I'm going to put her by the candlelight here. And I don't want to cover her up, but what I'm going to do is, we can do it. They can share, because it's really about the imagery, and you can see it in the background. Freya! Oh, of course, Freya, the goddess of discernment. I spend my time wisely. I only say yes when it's a holy hell yes. Meaning like, don't do anything you do not want to do. I am telling you, it was fucking hard. You know how hard it was for me to say to my beautiful beloved that I love so much, who's laying up in a fucking hospital bed on a feeding tube, for me to fucking like start an argument with him yesterday was hard. But I had to be like, listen, baby, I can help you and I will be there for you, but I'm not gonna, don't treat me like I'm your fucking secretary. I'm like, at least have some acknowledgement, like, of like what I've been doing since this happened, like, you know. And it's like I needed to be heard. And he was like, I need to go. And I'm like, and my first instinct was like, okay, run away, that's what you do, you know. But I was just like, okay, all right, you go, because I realized, I'm like, he needs to go. But I gave him space to think about it. I sent him little messages, and the next morning he sent me a beautiful message, right, and saying like, hey, you know, how are you? And he didn't apologize and like, oh, I'm sorry or whatever, trying to like, I felt like the boy that I dealt with and scolded, it was like the man answered for him. And I was like, holy shit. So give people time, give them a chance to ask for forgiveness or give them time to like come forward, you know, and let them do it in their own way. Don't try and force feed the situation of how you want it to be, right? That's the whole point of it. It's like, how do you want to show up in the relationship, and how do you want someone to show up in the relationship for you? We got a long road ahead of us. I said that to him. I go, listen, we need to be able to talk to each other. I go, you keep saying how different you are, and I can feel that. I go, but I'm different too. I go, not just that I've been working on myself all summer, being single. I go, I went from being single, feeling really great, working on my book, working with Spirit. And you know what's interesting? Last week, Spirit told me to take off. That's why there's been such a gap, because the last week I've been taking care of Edward, but the week before, Spirit told me to take a week. Just, I'd send little things here and there and posted, you know, but like, I didn't do readings. Spirit told me to take it easy, and I didn't know why. I just assumed that maybe this next week, because I was talking about starting my new courses, my classes, in September. So I thought, oh, you know, that's why, because I'm going to be working on that. Little did I know, right? Like that I was going to have a whole week that knocked me. I can't even believe it's been a week. It's just knocked me off my fucking gate. It's been so intense, and I've never been through anything like this with somebody, especially my significant other, right? So, you know, it's like we need to give ourselves time to breathe and take a minute and take a breath. So let them, you know, let them show you who they are, or give them time to show you like who they're becoming, right? So Freya, the goddess of discernment, I spend my time wisely, and I only say yes when it's a holy hell yes. Yeah, so don't say yes to things that you that don't feel good in your blood and your bones. If it doesn't feel good, do not do it. End of story. I think we're still going because, ooh, look at this. Let me ask. This is, you guys, so I guess this is getting broken up. So I hope these messages helped you. I hope this was great for you. And if you stuck around and you're still here from the beginning, woo woo, look at you, fucking rock stars. If not, thank you for stopping by. We'll see you next time. That's so crazy. I didn't say that to the with the other ones, but here we are. You know me, I just do. And these have been like calling my name. So let me see. I'm like, I'm tired. It's getting, so is this our last group? Is this the end of the, okay. Deep breath. There's a lot of stagnant air in here. You know what's funny? I just realized that the fan was on, and I didn't even remember I remember turning it on earlier today, but I forgot it was on, so I hope it hasn't been annoying during this reading. Let's take some deep breaths. Let's recenter, reground, regroup. I feel like this is going to be intense. But we're going to get in and get out, they said. We're going to get in and get out because I'm feeling really tired. Okay, take a sip of water. Especially if you're still here from before. Damn. Okay, so we're having two as our representations. The rutilated quartz and the azurite. So work with these energies. They're having me put them on like azurite and rutilated quartz. They're having me put them on either ends, and I feel like we're putting the cards out first, and then we're gonna get to those. So the frog, enjoy the frog. Number 14, cleaning house, releasing emotional baggage. Number 14, which is also the number 5. So the frog is your spirit animal. Look up frog spirit animal. Like go into Google and put in frog spirit medicine, spirit animal, whatever feels better to you, or both. And then just go through, and whichever ones jump out, maybe it's one, maybe it's more, read those. Cleaning house, releasing emotional baggage. Number 14. Oh, okay. The frog wants to be kind of, oh, here we go. The frog wants to be in the middle. I thought they said on there. Okay, the frog. Enjoy, number 37, which is all about completion. Number 10. Joy. Joy wants to be front and center. Now we're going to go to the rutilated quartz. I'm getting really, 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 really hot. And it's weird. It's like, I mean, I know the sun's here, but also it just feels like, I feel like I'm having a hot flash, and since I used to have hot flashes, I know what they feel like. So you guys are a really powerful group. Rutilated quartz. Vibrational healing, higher mind, reconciliation. You are subconsciously receiving loving vibrations and loving thoughts from someone connected to your past. An episode or conflict that hurt you emotionally is now being healed and reconciled by the power of forgiveness and unconditional love. Over the coming days, you may find yourself emotionally and mentally reciprocating this love as you reflect on a person or past event. Through the mutual exchange of love, past wounds are now energetically being healed and all negative attachments resolved and released. Aww. And then Azurite. Self-confidence, creativity, expanding awareness. Believe in yourself, for you have the ability to materialize your dreams. Throughout the coming months, you will begin to expand your horizons and explore new possibilities for your life. You will realize that all you need in order to manifest your dreams is self-confidence. Believe in yourself and do not let anything stand in your way. Even if you are rejected, do not give up, for even rejection can serve to strengthen your resolve and character, provided you are ready for it. Expect it and see it as something you can learn from. Success is guaranteed, provided you remain focused and confident. See every experience as an opportunity to learn. Yes, have you ever heard rejection is spirit's protection? That's what they're saying. So like, you know, if you know that you're going into a situation and that there's a great possibility that you're going to be rejected, then you have nothing to lose. Then if you don't get rejected, then it's a cool thing. And if you are rejected, it's also a cool thing because it means that's not the situation or that's not the person for you. And I'm hearing very explicitly from Spirit that it could be one or the other or maybe all of the above. But it's not necessarily a person for some of you guys. Maybe it's a job, maybe it's, you know, whatever. It's a roommate or something that you need to make a change. And so you're like, hey, what about this? Maybe you're like, your job wants you to come back and you're like, I've really been doing well from home and I would like to continue at home. And if they say no, find a company that will let you work from home, right? Like that's the thing is like things are starting to separate now, but in ways that are good because we're sorting out and we're segregating like the good from it's all good and it's all bad, right? Light and dark is good and bad. It's like, but we're weeding out the things that no longer serve us, right? So sometimes we need to separate from things like maybe you worked at that company for 18 years, but now you don't, you know, whatever, it's just not vibing with you anymore. That's okay. Hestia, the goddess of sanctuary. No matter where I am home. The most sacred sanctuary is found within me. We were just talking about this, about finding your inner peace, right? And that like you should be able to like find your peace whether you're in the busiest place, in the busiest room or whatever, or if you're sitting alone by yourself. And it takes a while to conquer that. So, you know, give yourself time. And even with myself, like I had to work so hard when I was in the hospital with Edward I've been talking about this the whole time. Like I had to work so hard to like keep my focus and I was drained for the last 2 days. And I even like really prepared myself in every way I possibly could. But, you know, sometimes things just take a lot out of us. And because he was there, I was like reikiing him. And so it's like, even though I was like, it was like I was like Wonder Woman and I was like pew 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 and I was like trying to fight off stuff, but in the end I'm still in this like avatar, right? I'm still human here, so like our bodies can only handle so much. So don't be hard on yourself if you're not fucking perfect. There's no such thing. Rita of Cassia, the patroness of impossible causes. I am miraculous. My prayers create powerful channels of possibility. Yes, you are a miracle, right? We're all a miracle. The fact that we're still here and alive, we're all miracles. It was 2, 44, 36. So what is that? 10, 18, 20. Number 2, right? I mean, when honestly, like the doctors were like, they were really freaked out. I'm not joking. They were really like, they're like, he's a miracle. They're like, how is he alive? They're like, we don't even know how he's alive about Edward, because for all intents and purposes, he should be dead. And when I was like, is he going to be okay? He's like, the fact that he made it past 24 hours out in the wilderness is he's like, and survived that. He's like, yeah, he's going to make it, you know, and he is, right? So Mary of Nazareth, the Mother of God, I am blessed. My courage gives birth to the divine. Yes. Take courage and know that you are blessed. Mary is looking out for you. This is the second time she came in our reading. She came in the reading before when we were at the very beginning when we did the tribe reading, when she was coming through with the calendula. So maybe for you that means you need to either buy a calendula plant or work with calendula healing plant medicine. Maybe calendula oil. Whatever it is that you need to, I think you can eat them too. I don't know. Look it up. Look it up. I don't want to poison anybody. Look it up. I think you can though, because I feel like I've had calendula tea before, but anyway, that's really powerful. Yes. Be courageous. Be courageous. And right, the Azurite was talking about the self-confidence. So I'm going to have them hang out together over here, right? It's like I feel like both of them are like hanging out with like their stone. Okay, you guys, so we've got one more of these cards. ALLLLLL, the goddess of never not broken. Everything happens for my liberation. I choose to become only more love. Yes, right? So what were they saying? It's like either it's for you or it's not for you. And I love that. Like, look at the sunlight on there. I just heard the wind beneath my wings. To never have sunlight on your face. Aww. You were content to let me shine. That's your way. You always walked a step behind. I don't know why they're having me sing this to you guys. This is, aww. So I feel like you'd like the angels and the spirits are like saying like, you know, like you've been the wind beneath other people's wings. You need to be the wind beneath your own wings, right? Bring yourself forward into the spotlight. You have something to say and you have something to give. Have confidence in yourself. What did the froggy say? Cleaning house and releasing emotional baggage. Yes, work with the frog medicine. Work with the frog medicine. And because the frog was here, and you know, frogs are so witchy. They're so witchy, right? I'm going to put this here, the joy. This is the only pile, and if you've been here the whole time, holy shit, but I'm not going over 3 hours. We are going to pull from the Gypsy Witch deck. The Gypsy Witch deck. I'm gonna. What is our culmination message for this, for the whole reading, and then also for this group, Spirit? What is our culmination message? And that's what I'm gonna do too. Is like, you know, this will be for you guys, but then I'll do a little timestamp below. Wow, did you see those pushing out? Well, it's the 10 of diamonds, which is like the 10 of pentacles, which, hello, 10's about completion, and 10 of pentacles don't get any better than that, baby. That's money. That means like you're coming into it. And number 8, which 8 is all about infinity. And it says, the scythe presages disappointment, and when near the coffin, early death. Okay, so this is like the witch's fortune. So you could take this as a tarot, or you could take it as the witch's fortune. And so what I'm hearing from that is like, yeah, it's like how you will get to this is by setting free the past and like saying goodbye. Like, it's over, it's gone, right? And because this main message has been about what's been going on with Edward, my partner, and what happened to him in his accident. I don't want to say accident, I should say incident. Right? It's like he had to literally kill a part of himself and leave it out in the forest so that he can be reborn, so he can find his joy, right? So he can find his center. He had to clean house emotionally, physically. He had to face his demons out there 2 nights, laying there, not sure if he's going to, he thought for sure he was going to die. He said the hardest part was not being able to breathe. And, you know, because he had a broken neck and his vocal cords were damaged and all that stuff. And if you only came to the reading, you might want to go back and listen to the story, but there'll be more following this story, obviously. But, right. So I take this for you guys. It's the same, right? It's like, so it's saying disappointment and early death. Well, it's like the early part of the death is that like maybe people don't realize when they're like, I want to kill myself. It's like, you know, that's a good thing. That means not that you want to die, but that you want to kill a part of you that doesn't want to live here anymore. That doesn't mean you don't live here anymore, or you're not going to live here anymore. It's just a part of you that's saying, no more. I don't want to live this way. I want to live a life of joy. I want to live a life of freedom. I want to release the past, release the baggage. I want to be more self-confident. I want to use my my powers. I want to use my gifts that I was brought here to do, right? It's like you want to like break through all of these barriers so that you could be the person that you were meant to be. So that's so powerful. Really powerful, you guys. I'm going to actually put that there, because we don't need we know about the death now. We just want to see the 10 of coins, the pentacles. And then this one, oh, the 4 of hearts. Oh, I love this because it's like bringing the heart back to balance, right? So our messages of hope is that we are going to achieve all of our dreams, everything. When we finally face, and for some of us we're already there, our demons, our past, we go into our childhood, we sit with the old feelings, we work through them, and then we let them go. We release them so we can start brand new, so we can start at number one, you know? It's like, that's when we will come to the riches. But until then, it's like, you know, balance your heart. Get the balance back in your heart. Balance your chakras. Keep yourself centered. This also says number 17, which is also the number 8. 7 and 1 is 8. The fish is the emblem of riches through stocks. But if distant, it foretells failure and disaster. But you know what? It doesn't. All it talks about, because we are in riches, right? This is our culmination. So you get that love and balance with yourself. You know, you need 4 legs to have a balanced table, right? So once you get that balance within yourself, and 4 times 2 is 8. 7 and 1 is 8. We got 8 over here, and 10's about completion, and 1. 1's all about new beginnings. So we're starting anew. We're ending the cycles that no longer serve us, and we're starting anew. That's our message of hope, you guys. Do it with love. Keep the balance of love. And I promise you, everything will fall into place. Thank you so much for being a part of this tribe. Thank you so much for supporting Edward during all of this. All of you, there were so many of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to bring this a little closer and just say thank you to you guys. I just want to say thank you so much for the Reiki. You know, Edward felt it. I felt it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything. Also, I am going to ask if you can, if it is in your capacity to do so. I have links below. Please, please contribute to this channel, not just to this reading, but to this channel, and to help in the rehabilitation of Edward, because I'm not going to be able to work as much because I'm going to be taking care of him just as I have been. I've already lost, 2 weeks of work, taking a week off to recharge and whatever, and then this last week with him, and then I'm not sure, I'm hopeful that he'll come home next week. But anything that you can donate, or even if you want to say like, hey, here's $100 for my next reading, or $50 for next reading, or whatever, or towards my next reading, or whatever it is, we can do that too. I just don't know exactly when I'll be reading again, and I am definitely going to be teaching classes. I've been talking about that for some time. It's definitely in the works. I have everything ready to go. I actually redid my whole space during the new moon, so I've got I have it all set up. I have all my children's stuff over here, so I can just grab my toys and stuff. I've got Patience right here, and I can go on and on. I've got Creature. So I've got all my stuff for my children's channel. Yes, of course, Clive Davis and Maddie wanted to come through. Oh, what did you say? Oh no, I'm sorry. It's Clyde Davis. Sorry. That's the owl. Anyway, so thank you so much for supporting this work and for supporting this tribe. Thank you so much, and for supporting me and my beloved while we are getting him better. And if money is not anything that you could do right now, then please just keep praying for us, praying for Edward's health. Just envision him healthy and strong and back to his old self. Well, not his old self. Oh, I just heard that. But back to where he needs to be for himself, so he is healthy and he is satiated in his mind and his body and his soul. That is sending Reiki or prayers or all of the above, or all of the above. Anything you can do to support us would be really wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. It's been almost 3 hours, so if you hung in here the whole time, you guys are fucking warriors. If not, thank you. Just thank you. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the readings, and we'll see you next time. Just keep up that hope, right? Keep up the hope. I love you so much. Blessed be. Aho.